Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, John Carlos, and John Tortorelli. And this is episode 392. In this episode, we're going to talk about DeMar DeRozan going to the Kings, brainstorm Lauri Markkanen trades, talk about Klay's fit with the Dallas Mavericks, and our confidence in the new look 76ers. Felt a little bit weird. They're not saying Drew and Dehls' name, but we got JC and we got John here. Oh, man. John and Riv, the 1v1 that everybody has been anticipating. John, I got to say, you took Riv to school on that clip.
Should have fucking drove when he looked. Look at.
Kept the dribble. Okay.
You took Riv to school. How do you feel about that? You look at the reaction on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. They can't believe it. They can't believe that you did that.
I mean, it's cool. It's what I do. It's funny because y'all have never seen me play before, right?
Never.
So this is your first time seeing me play. And I want to thank Riv because he gave me a very, I'd say kind comparison. One of my favorite comps, Chris Middleton. And I felt like today, like that was the way I was playing against him. My approach going in against him. It was a fun, it was a great game. And honestly, it's been a great week, man. Just got back from Key West. First time hooping in like a week. So I felt great today.
Florida?
And
That's Florida.
Yeah, it is Florida. And all together, I mean, I was telling my boy Brandon about it, my best friend. He was like, Riv don't know about that left hand, those skip shots you be hitting, some bullshit. I hit against him all the time.
Definitely bullshit.
I mean, it ain't bullshit if I do it consistently. But
Talk your shit, John. Now, today is Sunday, July 7th, but this episode will not be out until probably
Wednesday,
the
Thursday?
teens of July,
Something like
right? Probably like the 13th, 14th, maybe. The AFC North preview will be out before this. This is episode 392. What we're doing is that we're batch recording content because I'm going to El Salvador and I really don't want to do any work out there. You know, I just want to chill out there. I just want to be with my dad. He lives out there full time now, so I just want to be out there, chill. He got a beach house, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. So we're just batch recording all this content and releasing it so we don't have to record in real time. That's why Drew and Dehls aren't here, because they had to go to a birthday party for a friend, and they met Alex Pereira, UFC world champion, because their friend is Melvin Jovel, amateur fighter, 3-0, two-time champion.
Yes,
their friend Melvin Jovel, who we also know him as well. He's a 3-0. He has a 3-0 record as an amateur fighter. He trains with Alex Pereira, and he's gonna be really good one day as well. He's already really good, but he just got to make that climb up.
he's representing Hackensack too.
He's from Hackensack. Yeah, he's representing Hackensack.
That's fire.
There's a lot of great people from Hackensack.
I went to school with him since elementary school. I believe he got there when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. It was one of those two. No, 5th grade. I lied. Middle school. I first met him in middle school, but he transferred in. So we've all known each other forever. It's just be kind of crazy seeing in real time how we all just grow and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy how, you know, he is training with the UFC world champion. The world is so small.
And with, I think Glover is also in their camp too. Glover, he was also a world champion.
Yeah, I think he runs the program that they do, like the training sessions. It's his gym, Glover Teixeira, who's also like a UFC legend. But JC, how you doing? You got the Jets jersey on, Sauce Gardner. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling, you know. Got to represent the Jets, you know. I feel like we're going to do good this year. Sauce is my boy. I definitely got to rack up on more Jets jerseys. But other than that, bro, I'm chilling. I can't wait for football. It's going to be a fun time of the year. I can't wait, bro. I got to rep the Jets early, bro, so people know I'm really a fan for the doubters, because there's been some doubters out there, believe it or not. So it is what it is.
Doubters on the Jets or doubters on you being a Jets fan?
Doubters on my fandom. Really? Believe it or not, doubters on my fandom. You guys have known me since forever. I've always been a Jets fan. I've never, whatever. And I say that proudly, even though we've usually always been bad. I never switch on any of my teams. So, yeah, I got to rock Sauce. Trying to get that Garrett Wilson #5 jersey going into collection. Breece Hall. So, yeah, I'm trying to rack up on some Jets jerseys.
Hey, listen, I feel you, man. As somebody who I get doubted on my Knicks fandom all the time. I get disrespected. I get disrespected at this table because of James Harden. Y'all always seem to just not take that into account. I was wearing a James Harden jersey.
I think what it came down to is you saying you'd probably root for the Nets so they'd play the Knicks in the finals.
I never, when did I say that? How
believe
could they even play in the finals?
In the theory,
In the conference finals.
I think Dehls or Drew asked
Might
you the
have said
question.
that shit when Harden was there.
They said
Probably
in
did.
theory if they were to play, and I believe you said the Nets.
Because at the time, my reasoning was that I'm not going to deny that I said that. I would just say at that time, my reasoning was if I know the Knicks don't got a realistic chance at winning the NBA championship, but I know the Nets what Harden do,
That's an awful.
I still would do that. What do you
It's
mean?
actually, I say it's a good stipulation.
What do you mean? What if
And he
the
thinks they have no
what if the
chance.
2021 Knicks, led by Julius Randle, just like the Hawks that year, miraculously went to the ECF?
You root for your team.
But you know there's a ceiling on that. You know that's just a Cinderella type of run.
I mean, you rooted for Dallas.
But the Mavericks could have won a championship.
There was no chance they were.
Yes,
beating
they
Boston.
were.
There was no chance.
I hate this revisionist history we have with
There
the
was no
Dallas
chance
Mavericks.
they were beating Boston.
You know,
Everything else was valid.
You guys are probably loving it now that the Mavs fans, they're not bombarding our comments with their comments because, man, when they were winning and you guys were on the losing end of things, they let you hear it. They let you hear it.
I'm pretty high on the Mavericks this year.
No, yeah, as you should be. They got Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson.
He is a future.
Yeah, they got a squad right now.
Dallas fans was more really attacking Drew. I was like getting a little bit of it, but it wasn't like nothing insane because I wouldn't say too much.
But right now,
the only
Knicks,
team I have beef with fandom is Minnesota fans. They're very upset at me. I don't know why, but they.
because every time I think they come up, man, you do something to maybe
I guess
I don't know.
because I don't.
They feel like
shoot
you
them
discredit
down.
Anthony
I don't
Edwards.
have
or
Ant-Man as like the
Timberwolves.
seventh best player in the world, so they feel upset about that. You know, I don't know. I had them beating Denver. They just forget about that part, though. They don't care about the stuff that matters.
No, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, JC. Because I get questioned on this Knicks fandom, but I got a picture when I was 12 wearing the Carmelo
The
Anthony
Nets.
jersey.
Oh, you told me. Remember, you told me about the Nets stuff. You were a Nets fan.
What do you see right there? What's that? What's that for everybody? The camera can't see it. What's that right there in front of you?
Knicks
A
jacket.
Knicks starter
Knicks
jacket.
jacket.
Come on, man.
You told me you was a Nets fan first. You didn't
I
tell me.
was.
Oh, okay.
I was.
So you've
They
been
were-
switching
Yeah, but
back
he
and
said-
forth.
I'm from New Jersey.
He said
sure.
whoever got Melo, he was gonna be a fan of. The Knicks
Respect
ended up
that.
getting Melo.
Yeah, and the Nets went to Brooklyn. And I said, if I'm rooting for a team in New York, I'm rooting for the New York Knicks, not the Brooklyn Nets.
Word.
With all due respect, with all due respect to the Brooklyn Nets, because you guys finally have a direction now. So I
Then
think
when they
it's all
got
good.
Harden and shit, you had to get back there. You had to.
Hey,
He
listen.
called the Metro real quick.
Hey, listen. Of course,
It's all good though. It's my
'Cause
it's just
they
his-
should have
his
won a
favorite player.
championship.
Oh God, here we go with this.
And that's in 2021.
Yeah,
I agree.
They should have won a
would've.
championship.
Definitely, but
I think.
We're gonna beat
That
at a
shit-
dead horse.
yeah, that
or
shit.
something.
Well, yeah, that
Like,
shit. That shit is water
yeah,
under the bridge
every
now, bro.
year,
It's
yeah.
like
It is at this point because
course
you
they
could have
should.
said the same
Life.
thing back then for the Clippers.
shit crazy, bro.
Injuries happen.
It's a war of
every year.
attrition.
Really crazy.
It's a war of attrition at the end of the day.
Hey, you got better. You said injuries happen. I respect that. Before you
Happens
just thought
every
they
year.
was flat out better than.
If they won that year, the legendary Riv clip would have
Yo,
not
he's
existed.
hilarious, bro. Because I remember when we had the predictions for that series. I remember shit like it was yesterday. He was like, "Yo, I got the Bucks in 6." I remember the Nets had everybody healthy going into game 1, and he still had the Bucks in 6. Yo, he definitely had an agenda against us that
Had
year.
the Bucks, man.
He ain't fuck with the Nets.
I felt the vibes. The aura in Milwaukee was definitely different. You know?
And your KD moment clip is going viral again on TikTok.
Yeah, it is.
Yo,
Very random.
KD's
honestly.
legacy
it
is
is.
really different.
Yeah, very,
if he
very
gets that
random.
shit done and wins that year, his legacy's crazy. But
I wonder why it was brought back up again, but definitely a random clip from like last year. That was an episode like 210 or something like that.
Yeah, no, that was a
Yeah, it was
random
like
clip from last
214.
year.
that was like what? That was last year. I thought
That was
I thought
September
like
of
2 years ago.
2022.
Yeah, that was definitely a summer vibe. So I guess summer reunion. We're here again.
That's one of the best episodes in the history of this. Y'all two was going
funny
at it.
part about
Maybe
the
it was
episode is
funny
we were
for it.
literally ending the show.
I ain't gonna lie, he really,
Before that.
you had him really mad.
Yeah, man.
Cause you said, I remember, cause he was like Steph Curry against the Bucks. You was like Steph was by himself. Steph was by himself. Bro, this dude screamed like, "Yo, what was KD against the Bucks? He was by himself." Like, yo, that shit was funny. Yo.
good times, man.
Great episode.
It's an all-time moment.
What I love about
Dev.
all the clips from the show is that you can always look on a TV and you can see what episode number it was from. Because from that moment, from that viral clip, you could see it right there, plastered on the TV, episode 210 or something, I believe it was. It was around that area. And now people are watching it. They're like, okay, maybe let's go back to this episode, this exact one, and let's see where this
Now,
moment
that
happened.
episode was so good. I think B Souls And his boy, I don't know his boy's name, but they kind of like had their take on the video with you guys playing in the background. Obviously, we know Kevin Durant responded to that, which was crazy.
That was nuts.
That was crazy.
I had a feeling he was going to respond to it too.
You knew
Me
he was
too.
gonna respond.
'Cause he always
I had a
does.
feeling,
That's how he
yeah.
is.
He responds.
Because I had a feeling when it was really doing
Come help
numbers,
himself.
I was playing Apex Legends with my friend Edwin, and when it was doing numbers, I was like, "Yo, bro, I just really have a feeling that I'm gonna go to sleep, I'm gonna wake up, and he is gonna respond to this. I just have a feeling he is." And then he did. He responded to it.
No, he definitely did.
That was pretty crazy. Oh man, but NBA offseason is underway. Today's
Probably
show,
almost over.
today's show is gonna be about the NBA, all about the NBA, and the big time news that broke out was that the Sacramento Kings traded for DeMar DeRozan. They signed him to a 3-year, $74 million contract, and this is basically the big time news from the trade. The Kings get DeMar DeRozan, the Spurs get Harrison Barnes, an unprotected 2031 pick swap to the Spurs and Chris Duarte, and the Bulls get 2 second-round picks. So sign and trade DeMar DeRozan lands with the Kings. What is your takeaway from this deal, from this trade? Riv, Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, you've seen him for the last 3 years. What do you think this does for the Kings?
Well, first of all, shout out to DeMar. I felt like he was amazing for what Chicago needed him to be. You know, made an All-NBA team, couple All-Star games. You know, did everything he could for this team to try to, you know, make them relevant. You know, get them into the playoffs. I think one year he averaged like 28 points a game or something like that. He was a dog. You know, broke a couple records here. You know, so shout out to DeMar. He's always been consistent on just wanting to, you know, play in Chicago, wanted to be for Chicago. He found a home there. Very good at mentoring the young guys in IO, Kobe White, Patrick Williams. I think he drove all the way to IO's high school to watch them retire his jersey, and I heard it's a really, really tough drive. I think it's Champaign or something like that. Champaign, something called like that. But DeMar was a big mentor for the younger guys, and it's tough to see him go because I thought he was one of the few guys in which Chicago fans liked and respected and understood and wanted to keep him if they could, you know. But, you know, times are changing in Chicago. Times are definitely changing. Times needed to be changed, and it's happy that it's happened now. As far as Sacramento getting DeMar, I mean, I know people are going to, you know, and even myself, I'm not as big on, you know, making it a big deal about fit. I know a lot of people on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, are making this big idea about, oh, the fit is nasty, the fit is trash. I'll be honest, bro, like, they got nothing for something. So, like, they made an upgrade, whether it's going to fit wrong or whether it's going to, you know, not mesh together is something to see. But just looking at it face value, DeMar DeRozan is an insane upgrade from Harrison Barnes, like by a wide margin. He's just so much of a better player than he is. And this is a guy who's still a 20-point-per-game scorer, still pretty efficient in what he does as a mid-range scorer, as a finisher, as a playmaker, you know, as a good connector, a guy who can go get a bucket. He works really well in the pick and roll. You know, ISO scoring is one of his things. Post-up game is there. Like, he has a lot of good things to his game. And what Mike Brown and the Sacramento Kings have done over the past 2 years is reinvent this offense, kind of make it more exciting. You see Fox working the mid-range really well, so I don't think DeMar is going to have a big issue with that. Sabonis has been really huge for them, run a lot of DHOs and stuff like that. Keep the ball moving. And I think Sacramento, all in all, they're a franchise that's not really going to get the big name type players. They're a franchise that is kind of like, in our era, has kind of been a failure. You know, they've kind of been the laughing stock of the league. So for them, it's just about upgrading at talent no matter what. And DeMar DeRozan is an insane upgrade, like I mentioned, from Harrison Barnes. Now, how is it going to fit with Fox, whoever they started, the two, DeMar, Keegan, Sabonis? Only one way to figure out. But if anybody's going to do it, I think Mike Brown could be the guy to do it. You know, and I think Fox being in the conversations to get DeMar to Sacramento seems like he's open and he's excited to play with DeMar and excited to figure it out. And in a West where everybody's so talented and everybody is upgrading, you got to find something. You know, the Kings may not be these world beaters. They may not be championship level teams, but I don't like that everybody looks at a team and as if they can't win the championship, we can't talk about it. If they can't win the championship, oh, then there's no need for them to go get this guy. No, sometimes you have a period in your franchise where you just want to stay competitive. And I think the Kings going from pretty much the Chris Webber, Peja, Mike Bibby ages to being shit and worst in the league to now just being competitive. I think they're fine with just being that competitive window for right now. So for me, you know, getting DeMar, is dope. I do think the Bulls kind of whiffed on all of this, trading these guys last minute. You know, you could have walked away with 8 or 9 picks last year by trading these players, even at the deadline. But, you know, it's about time you finally made a trigger. You finally made a move. You pulled the trigger. You know, you're now in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. So shout out to you for finally doing it. A little too late, but glad you did it. That's for Sacramento. You know, big upgrade from Harrison Barnes.
Absolutely. For Sacramento last year, when Malik Monk went down those final 10 games, they did not have another point guard or a ball handler to run their offense. And this move, to me, does it raise the Kings' floor? A little bit, but not a whole lot. What it really does is reinforce it, or I think I said their floor. Does it raise their ceiling? Not a whole lot. But it reinforces one of the higher floors in the Western Conference because naturally DeMar's a third All-Star. And those lineups where De'Aaron Fox is off the floor. In the regular season, you don't have to play him as much. He's not going to have the same responsibility. And DeRozan, how well does he fit with Domas and De'Aaron? It's an imperfect fit. We're going to have to see how Mike Brown's able to utilize them, especially coming off the wings, getting DeMar in that soft in-between space where he is one of the premier mid-range scorers in the game. I think the biggest question here is how you're able to really amplify Domantas Sabonis' value if you're adding a new valve to this offense, which is DeMar ISOs. The big question to me, of course, is also going to be the shooting guard spot. You just traded one of your starters in Harrison Barnes. Do they go with a defensive player to pair alongside DeMar and De'Aaron like Keon Ellis? Or do they go with a shot creator and or a shot maker like Kevin Huerter or Malik Monk? I think in this starting lineup, if you play Keon Ellis, I love what he brings defensively, and he's really developing on the offensive side, but it's a little bit too early for that. And they really need to get as much shooting in those 4th and 5th starter spots in order to make that trio work. Otherwise, I think they're going to have a lack of space, which is going to hold back DeMar in the second half of his 30s.
What do you think, JC?
I'm going to kind of ruin everybody's parade here. I kind of really don't like the trade. I don't like the idea of pairing DeMar DeRozan with this team. I was looking at a couple of statistics earlier today. DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox hold the ball in the NBA for 5 seconds, which is amongst one of the most in the NBA. So to get theirs, they're really ball-dominant players. DeMar doesn't shoot the three really well. Mm-hmm. I know he shot at 37%. I don't know how many attempts, maybe 1-2 attempts per game career, but it's still average. Doesn't help them defensively. I do think that this will definitely be a fun team to watch. I will definitely probably tune into the Kings games this year, 100%. I like the pairing offensively. I think you have 3 great offensive players, but as far as doing anything, if that's what their intentions are to do, I still think that this team's at best maybe a second round exit if they get matched up with a good team against a team that's like iffy or whatever. But I still think that this team's a first round exit. One thing that's really underrated with DeMar DeRozan that I didn't know, he's actually relatively available. Since 2012, I was looking at the numbers. He hasn't missed more than 10 games since 2012, since 2012 season. Malik Monk got hurt last year. In the case that Fox or Monk get hurt, you have another guy that can handle the scoring load. Like Riv say, he's a solid playmaker. But as far as the fit, I don't know. I have to see how he's going to play off Fox and Domantas Sabonis or whatever the case may be. But just looking at it from a long-term perspective, I don't think this is a good move if they're trying to contend or trying to build a contending roster. But I definitely do think that this team will be really fun to watch offensively, and definitely a team that that's good to sell for the fans right now. So
let me ask you a question. I kind of agree their ceiling is around a second round exit.
At best.
The Kings never acquired DeMar DeRozan, what's the likelihood they win a first round series? Because they were just the 9 seed, won 46 games in that West.
I don't think that there's a high possibility that they do. I know the year that they were the 3rd or 2nd seed. They lost to Golden State in 7 games. Last year, obviously, they weren't that good. Definitely, DeMar DeRozan definitely does help, but the West is so loaded. We would pencil them in around playing to 6 seed, right? You're going to be playing a top 3 seed in the West in the first round. I don't like their chances against a top 3 seed in the West. That's just me, though. But it'll be fun basketball.
I think that's understandable. When we're talking about a long-term outlook, in this 3-team deal, the Bulls lost. The Spurs won. Harrison Barnes is a 38.7% three-point shooter. You now add that to a team that wants to take more threes and space the floor around Wemby, and he's an all-right defender. But they get an unprotected 2031 pick swap. They, in this draft, traded the 9th overall pick to the Wolves for 2 picks in the 2030s, 2030 and 2031. One is an unprotected first-round pick. Another one is a pick swap. We're talking about a team in the Spurs right now that they are loading up on these draft picks 6 to 7 years from now, which is going to be when Wemby is entering his prime. Yeah. The potential for the Kings to be bad or the Wolves to be bad 6 to 7 years from now, we have no idea what can happen. A down year can happen. And if that does happen, the Spurs capitalize on those picks, and they could pair a top-end talent with Victor Wembanyama while, yes, in his prime, while also having talent around him from these years that they're going to be building up the roster around him. For the Sacramento Kings, I think this makes them a 50-win team. 2 years ago when they won 48 games, they were first in offensive rating. They dropped down to 13th this past season. But to me, I feel like the Kings, you guys know, the year they made the playoffs, I was high on them. Yeah. I picked them to be a team to make the playoffs because I believed in the offseason moves that they made. And all year long, they had a spark to them. The light the beam stuff. That was a special moment. This past season, I wasn't high on the Kings because they didn't make anything groundbreaking. They didn't do anything groundbreaking in the offseason. There was no spark to this team. And the offensive efficiency dropped down tremendously. But this was the spark they needed to now get somebody like me who every night, and you know this, JC, because you used to come over my house and we used to watch these Kings games late at night at 11 p.m. Right. We used to watch those games. Now this is getting me to watch the Kings again. Yeah, you know what? Too. If they're on late, this is a team I want to watch with 3 All-Stars. We got to understand, the Kings got 3 All-Stars in Fox, Sabonis, and DeMar DeRozan, and they're still under the first apron. Yep. They're not even under any tax penalties, so their ownership isn't paying a ton of money to have this roster, and it's just simple math. You're swapping out a guy in Harrison Barnes who averaged 12, 3, and 1 for DeMar DeRozan who averaged 24, 4, and 5. I understand the stuff about holding the ball. I do, but I do believe that De'Aaron Fox was a catalyst in landing DeMar DeRozan, and they'll figure out how to play with each other. John was making this point earlier before the show that the starting lineup, as much as I love Keon Ellis and they need his defense, it's much better and it makes more sense if they start Kevin Huerter, because Keegan and Kevin Huerter can be the 2 floor spacers around Fox, DeMar, and Sabonis. Mm-hmm. And now Keon comes off the bench with Malik Monk and Trey Lyles and Devin Carter. And you have defense coming off your bench, because if they start Keon Ellis, now their 3 rotation players off the bench that are coming off the bench at first are Malik Monk, Trey Lyles, and Kevin Huerter. There's no defensive stopper in that bench rotation outside of Devin Carter, who's a rookie, and now you're relying on a rookie. So having Keon come off the bench makes the most sense, because now there's a defender coming off the bench with Malik Monk, so he can guard the opposing team's best players in those minutes. But the closing lineup for the Kings, Fox, Monk, DeMar, Keegan, Sabonis. That's going to be their closing lineup. We're talking about their spacing, but in late game situations, that 5 is going to close. And I think that 5 is very good. You got 3 guys who can at any time go and get a bucket in Fox, Monk, and DeRozan. Clutch, so and on top of that, DeMar, this past season, 554th quarter points. De'Aaron Fox had 538. I mean, this team is going to be very fun to watch, and I think they're going to be the 5th best team in the Western Conference. To me, we have the Nuggets, Wolves, Mavericks, OKC, no order. That's the top 4. But outside of that, I think the Kings can be the 5th best team in the West next year.
I think that's valid. Ooh, the Western Conference, it feels like there's 2 tiers, where it's after you get that top 4, there's a lot of different teams in that bubble. Keon Ellis is fascinating, though, Joel, because, well, he only took 2.9 3-point attempts a game last year. It was in 17 minutes a game. And if he's going to be playing 25, 30 minutes, we're getting a guy who took 6 threes per 36, and he made 41% of them. But just a huge unknown, can he play under 1,000 minutes? I think the other thing for Sacramento that you both highlighted, you're getting 2 of the best fourth quarter closers in the game. You're getting one of the most durable forwards. I think more than anything, DeMar DeRozan's really become underrated, because so far, up until this point in his career, he's turning 35 next month. He's done nothing in the playoffs. But in the regular season, he has long been one of the most consistent players. And I think for Sacramento, you cannot look at the Western Conference with how much better Oklahoma City's getting, how aggressive Minnesota's been, how good the Nuggets are, and say, we're going to stay put with this team and not make any moves, because that is how you stagnate. And I want to give a lot of credit to Monty McNair, the Kings GM, who says, we're going to make a risk here. It's an imperfect fit when you've got De'Aaron Fox as the best shooter in your top 3 guys. But if De'Aaron's going to make 35, 36% of his threes, and you've got those 2 shooters, and Keegan, who's in a huge year 3, and Kevin Huerter, I think this can definitely work.
That's why I love this move, though, because where's the risk? Where's the risk in making this move for the Kings?
The risk is not making it.
You got rid of the worst starter in the starting five for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, for sure.
Facts.
Actually good.
Facts.
The only risk is potentially Fox not liking how it ends and leaves, because that's one of the big things that's been going on. He's been wanting to see how the Kings evaluate these next couple of years, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I do think players want to compete and stuff like that, so you definitely want to. I love the first action in going to get DeMar, being aggressive, trying to figure it out, even if it is as a little needle mover as this. You just want to stay aggressive and be on the approach, and that's all players ask for. Just be aggressive, try to put a team around me to win the championship.
Yo, fellas, I got a quick question because you said they're going to be top 5, right?
Yeah.
I just to throw out, just throw a team out. Memphis healthy or the Kings?
I would say Memphis.
I would also go Memphis.
I was thinking about it too. I think Memphis.
Memphis.
It's very close though.
I respect them.
Yeah,
I kind of trust the Kings. I trust the Kings' durability a little bit more.
You forgot about the Grizzlies, bro.
Big time.
And before the 22-23 season, nobody envisioned the Kings being number 1 in offensive rating. And now Mike Brown gets a huge piece to that puzzle to now improve their offense from this previous season, which ranked 13th.
Top 5 offense.
I'm going to go with the Sacramento Kings because of their durability. The Memphis Grizzlies in a half-court setting still have a lot to prove to me. They have a lot of depth. John Moran is a star. There's no doubt about it. And it could be higher than the 5th seed, if everything goes right. But I think durability right now is just a huge concern for them.
That's true.
That's the only team you want to mention? Or you want
no, just, because
I thought you had.
I'm not going to lie, because I thought, the Pelicans, I don't know how you feel about the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans could be better.
I'd say the Pelicans are better, personally.
That's you got to give them the same if they're healthy.
Definitely not Houston, right?
Nah, not
Definitely
yet.
not Houston. Not yet.
No, not yet. But there's a
because they finished the year strong last year, so I guess I would mention them. Like I said, I would have the Kings around the 6th seed.
Yeah, I think they're a lot like the Bulls in 2022, and that team obviously had a lot of injuries. Lonzo goes down, Alex Caruso went down, but I think it's almost a testament to the fact they're comparable to the Bulls because that Eastern Conference is really deep, this Western Conference is really deep, and the Kings have a chance if things go right to enter that upper echelon.
Yeah, I feel like before this move, I had the Kings in the play-in territory.
Like 8 to 10.
Yeah, and then after this move, I now see them sitting at a table with the Pelicans, with the Grizzlies, with the Lakers, with the Suns.
Okay.
Now I see them in that territory.
Did you mention the Lakers in the top 4?
No.
Top 5?
No.
They're in that same bubble.
I think they're in that bubble, though.
Okay.
I think the Kings
It's gonna
now,
be interesting.
They become a clear playoff team. The West is so loaded and the West is so stacked. But they made no risk to get DeMar DeRozan. And next offseason, they're going to have 4 first-round picks available to trade.
Fire.
So if they want to make an all-in move next offseason, they could even double down on what they're already doing to do that type of move.
I would like that. That would sell me more on them, obviously, as a contender. They put all their chips in to get another great player.
Nothing's really a lock. Like you can be a playing team and be better than the teams in front of you. It's really all about, like you mentioned, health, their ability throughout the regular season, who's deeper, stuff like that. Because last year we saw seeding 5 to 9 were so close for the most part. Yeah. It was really we don't know who would finish towards the end of the year. So same thing could happen again this year.
The Kings' 3-point leaders in 23-24. Keon Ellis, 41.7% on 2.9 attempts. Trey Lyles was second, 38.4% on 3.8 attempts. Domantas Sabonis shot 37.9% on 1 attempt a game. De'Aaron Fox shot 37% on 8 attempts. He really increased his volume from the previous season, and you can argue that was a hindrance to their offense. That's why they kind of dropped off a little bit, because he was just so elite at the rim that he should have just kept doing that. Kevin Huerter had a down year, shooting 36% on 5 attempts. And Keegan Murray shot 36% on almost 7 attempts a night. So if you're looking at Huerter and Keegan getting back to their respective 40% from 3 seasons that they just had 2 seasons ago, Keegan set the rookie record for made threes in a year, So if you get those versions of them, then the spacing to me isn't that big of a concern. I'm not that worried about
the defense.
Honestly, that's what we haven't talked about. Their only strong point of attack defender in that core 8 is just Keon Ellis.
Yep.
So I look at that and say that's probably not going to be spoken about a whole lot, but you need to guard up against a lot of these Premier West teams.
They don't have a reliable rim protector, help side defenders. Keegan is a good defender. Continue to
I'm
improve.
sorry, I kind of left out Keegan.
Because Keon is the one really,
On
really
ball,
great
on
on-ball
guards.
defender. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like those two aren't in the lineup. Who's guarding? You know, and then if you start Fox, Herter, DeMar, Keegan, Sabonis, who's guarding? You know, it's always a tricky thing. So they can rely on their offense. So their offense is going to be high-powered, but they're going to have to do that a lot.
Do you think that the Kings start Keon to start the season and just kind of see if that three-point shooting is real? Because he was number one.
I think
in
you have
three-point
to
percentage.
because you
Three
need some
attempts,
semblance of defense.
Yeah, on 3 attempts.
Definitely potential there.
And if you have Fox, DeMar, and Sabonis, you have enough offense and enough playmaking to where you can figure it out. I think the on what defense is the most important part for your team right now.
Definitely.
So you have to try out Keon Ellis at the 2. Like, if it doesn't work, you can switch it up 10, 15 games in. But to just, like, not put him in and try more offense, I understand that part. But when you have those 3 guys with the ball in their hands consistently, you have Keegan as a spacer, you got to trust in Keon Ellis to eventually get that three-point shot. So why not try it?
And I'm not too worried about De'Aaron either. He took a career-high 7.5 three-point attempts this last year, made
was settling
37% of them. That's true. I would like to see him attack more because he was the best finisher in the league in 2023. But if that's who he's going to be off the catch, you're going to be pretty fine at that point guard spot.
Yeah, exactly. This is a fun fact right here, but Kendrick Lamar in his song Not Like Us, he had a lyric where he said, "I'm glad D Rose came home. Y'all didn't deserve him either."
Bro, you know what I was thinking about? He might have known that this shit was going to happen before. You never know, bro, because he's really
I
like...
thought he said Debo. He said D-Rose?
No,
He said
D-Rose,
D
yeah.
Rose.
And look, he ends up on a fucking California team.
He's been wanting to come home for a minute.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a double entendre because Kendrick's family's from Chicago too. His origins are
He's
from
from
Chicago.
Compton.
His father grew up...
Yeah, he's from Compton, but his father grew up in Chicago, and of course, DeMar DeRozan played for Toronto. Then went to Chicago, but now he's on the Kings, and yeah, like Kendrick drops a lyric like this, you definitely feel like he had sources that DeRozan was eyeing to go to California.
Had to have known.
And I feel like that's another thing, a part of this DeRozan trade that DeRozan now playing for Sacramento, playing for California, it's an extra motivation for him. And this is possibly the biggest trade / signing that the Kings have made in like the last 20 years. This is like probably the biggest one.
Is this bigger than Domantas Sabonis, who was 26 when they acquired him?
That was a big trade,
They gave
too.
up Tyrese Halliburton.
That was a
deal.
big trade, too.
And that was a
Buddy
lot
Hield.
of negative pushback, though, too, from that trade.
But generally, I
Big
think that's a
time,
more
I remember
monumental
that.
move. DeMar's probably top 3 because trading DeMarcus Cousins or Buddy Hield as well.
Yeah, but I feel like with that, it's like Domantas Sabonis got traded to the Kings. DeRozan is more so saying, I want to go there. That's where I'm signing. The Kings have never had a signing like that, like to the level of DeMar DeRozan, because they don't really acquire many free agents. DeMar DeRozan went to the Kings, obviously. Lauri Markkanen, we're not sure what's going to happen with him. The Utah Jazz, we're not sure if they're even going to shop him or they're going to trade him because Jake Fisher from Yahoo Sports says there's a 10% chance the Jazz deal Lauri Markkanen. If you want to see Lauri on one team that's not Utah next year, who would it be? You're going to go in a bit, Riv. I know your answer. JC, what's your answer?
All right, so a team that I would kind of like him to go to, let me make this really clear before I say it, though. I think that it would not obviously, but I think it would be a little too late for them because I feel like their window, I don't want to say it's closed, but it's definitely, they've had other years where they could have made a move like this and it would have benefited them. But I would like to see him on a team like the Miami Heat. I think Miami Heat definitely need a third scorer, but I think Lauri Markkinen can be the first scoring option on that team. I think if he goes on Miami, he's the best 3-level scorer that they have. He's an elite 3-point shooter. He's gotten better as an offensive player in Utah. The mid-range is there, can attack the basket. He was shooting like almost 40% on 9 attempts from the 3 last year. A year before, 39% from the 3 on 7 attempts. He shot 40% from the 3 before. So this guy's a really good shooter. And I think a lot of the times when I would watch Miami Heat games, and when I would talk to their fans, they would be like, man, if only we had that third scorer or that guy that can get a bucket outside of Jimmy Butler that can create from 3 levels on the court. I think that would be a really good trade for the Miami Heat. As far as what they would have to give up for him, I don't really know. I'm pretty sure Tyler Hero would be centered around the package, but
It always is.
I think, it really
I saw this trade package earlier. The Miami Heat would give up Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, and Jaime Jaquez for Lauri Markkanen.
That's way too much.
Do you think that's way too much, or it's not enough?
I think
John just said it's not enough.
enough.
It's not enough.
You don't think it's enough?
It's not enough.
I think that's way too much.
Jaime, Hero, and then you said Jovic.
Yeah.
I think you need to include one really good first round pick and then multiple swaps, and then we'll be talking.
For Lauri?
Yes.
Really?
Lauri to me is such a unique player because
I think that's over.
I look around the NBA. I think you could say that he's a top 40 player to me, Lauri Markkanen. But his game is so skilled because of the fact you highlighted premier three-point shooter. In the last 2 years, his confidence has skyrocketed as an off-ball player. He's one of the best cutters, slipping to the rim, and finishers altogether.
Catch and shoot shooter.
The catch and shoot element is something that's always been there. It's just elevated. But the new part of his game, which makes him so complimentary in any environment, is the fact that he's elite off the ball. He's great in transition. The perfect Lauri Markkanen destination to me would be San Antonio. We look around the NBA, and there's a lot of teams that need three-point shooting, specifically young ones. And I look at the idea of Lauri playing alongside Devin Vassell and then Victor Wembanyama at the 5, and I say it would be a perfect fit for him long-term. Day one, maybe Chris Paul will be your point guard next year. And then, of course, you've got Jones as well. But I think in a vacuum, Lauri would be perfect for them because when you need the three-point shooting, you usually want someone to complement that second star, like Wemby, without taking away from what he brings to the table. I think Markkanen would be such an explosive second option that, quite frankly, would skyrocket the Spurs win total. And I think the package would be, for salary purposes, you're going to throw in Jetty Osman and then maybe a Devontae Graham.
Throwing Keldon Johnson.
Maybe.
Keldon Johnson matches the salary perfect.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Honestly,
and
yeah, 20
I
mil?
actually think that'd be better. But I think because the Spurs has won 22 games this year, they would only have to give up 3 of their first-round picks with 2 swaps, maybe a player like Kellen as well to seal the deal for Utah. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, I doubt Lauri gets traded without being extended. So I do not think that trade would happen this summer, probably in the next 2 years.
Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, Lauri, and Victor Wembanyama, and Devin Vassell. What's that in the West?
38 win team, 41.
I think they
it
could
depends on how much
beautiful
Wemby
league.
develops.
I'm not gonna lie.
Come on.
I think they would be able to compete for a playing spot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really do. I feel like that's a really good team. Obviously, the West is stacked, but if Chris Paul can give me 1 year of being like a great facilitator, which we know he's going to give us, but if he can get these guys like Lauri Markkanen and Devin Vassell, if he can get Victor Wembanyama, if he can get them the ball and they can score at a high rate, I think that this team would be gunning for a playing spot.
Definitely
Do I think
30
that they would
wins.
make it? Probably not. But you know what? I'm really banking on a ridiculous Victor Wembanyama leap, and I think that. Obviously, I think pairing Chris Paul with him, I think that was like the best thing that you could. That's honestly one of my favorite moves to happen this entire offseason. So if they get Lauri with the roster that you just named, I think that they could be in the plan. Will they make the playoffs? Don't know, but they'll definitely be a playing team.
What type of season do you think Victor Wembanyama is going to have?
I'm not going to lie. I think he's, honestly,
So,
I think he's leading the league in blocks again.
He's
Definitely
he's
in the
gonna
league
be a
in blocks.
walking 24 and 10.
He might, I was thinking maybe 25, 26 per game with like 10 rebounds with close to maybe 4 blocks a game. Bro, there was an entire montage of clips of the San Antonio Spurs missing a fucking 7'4" guy cutting wide open. You got the perfect point guard to pair with him that is only going to look for him as his first option to pass the ball to. He's going to unlock him.
now
He's
you
gonna
put
unlock
Trey
him.
Jones in that second unit.
That's
Victor
fire,
just
bro.
averaged 22 points on 56% true shooting, right below league average. The 4 blocks and 4 assists stands out to me because I feel like with Wemby's floor as a defender and what he can bring, the attention that he commands, next year he could be a top 10 player in the NBA. You look at the top 7, I think that's pretty
As early as
solidified.
next year, he could be a top 10 player in the NBA.
I would say top 20,
Those
top
8 to
15.
10 spots, I
That's as
think,
far
are
as I
open
would
for
go.
a guy like him.
Who's
Now-
the 8 to 10?
I
Who
mean, for
drops
me-
out the top 10?
AD drops out the top because he's
For
an
me,
8 to
maybe
10
Jalen
guy.
Brunson, maybe.
AD's an
That's
8 to
not a
10
bad
guy.
take.
You telling me?
But
AD.
The end of next year, he can be better than Anthony Davis.
I have AD in my top 10, but I would have him over Brunson more likely.
Okay. but
I
you
say
said-
top 15, top 20.
I'm not mad at that.
AD,
top 10
I'm
was
not
strong.
quite sure.
AD's crazy. AD's OD.
I'm not saying AD.
You said 8 to 10.
Yo, but if he's putting up 20 set,
No,
let's say
I'm
if he's putting
saying
up 26,
it's
10
open.
with 4 blocks
AD's
a
gonna
game.
do that. Not the blocks, but AD.
Per 36, Wemby averaged 26, 13, and 5.
Bro,
That sounds like
on
AD.
4 blocks and 1.5 steals.
Except the blocks.
That sound like AD.
Sounds exactly like AD as a matter.
But bro, bro.
Maybe that's a little too early. Like, say
top
2
10,
years.
top 10 player. I feel like
I'm comfortable with 20, top
10 player to build around. He's top 3.
He's top
He's
one.
one.
He's top one to build
He's
around.
one. He's one.
He's number
He's
one.
top- What,
It
bro?
Minimum 2.
I would
mortgage- if you're including
Nah,
Luka,
Luka,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know
would
if-
mortgage my
Where's
entire
Anthony
career for
Edwards?
someone like
Does
that.
he fit in?
Where's that?
Top five, top five.
Wemby's over them.
Yo, in the long term, bro, Wemby's scary, bro.
Ant-Man, really?
Can
SGA?
you
I would rather have
Wemby
Wemby
Edwards
over
Wemby.
Ant-Man. I'm taking Wemby, bro.
No,
if
like,
I'm
it's not
struggling,
even
if I can
it's-
have one of them today on the Nets, for
It's
example,
not
my
even
team
a
sucks,
thought.
bro. I'm taking Wemby, bro.
Only Luka is a thought for me. Everybody
That dude's a
else is Wemby.
fucking unicorn, bro. We've never seen
I know
some
you
shit
love
like
Ant-Man.
that.
I understand.
No, I understand Wembanyama's a unicorn. I think
Oh my gosh,
Anthony
bro.
Edwards' mindset and mentality is unicorn-like.
It's not.
Anthony Edwards
Because
is a
we've seen
great
it
player.
multiple times.
He's a
We
great
haven't
player.
seen it in the past, I could say,
I'm gonna give him his
5
respect.
to 8 years.
Anthony
I
Edwards
haven't
is a
seen
great
it.
player.
When's the last time we seen a player like Anthony Edwards so young come and dominate with the mindset that he has? When's the last time we seen a player do that?
When the last
A
time
young
we seen
player
D-Wade.
do that.
It was D-Wade.
How long ago was that?
2006.
Almost 20 years ago. When the last time we seen a Wemby player? Literally never. So
I know we never seen it, but
never
I'm just
seen
saying, let's
it.
put some respect on
We've
Anthony
never
Edwards.
seen a Wemby
He just led
player,
his
bro.
team to the Western Conference Finals.
Brother, you're trying to
in
compare
his
the
fourth
Wemby.
year.
Talk about long term. Just stop. It's okay.
Yeah, no. All
Stop.
jokes aside, no funny shit. Like if you were on a bad team, if you were the GM and you had one of them
30
in
GMs are
front of you,
picking
like
Wemby over
Wemby
Ant-Man.
or Ant for the next 10, 15 years, and we can't guarantee you because you never can if one of them will win you a championship. But if you could go and build around one, you'd really take Anthony Edwards over Wemby?
I'm taking Anthony Edwards over God. It doesn't matter.
Nah,
I
for real,
think
like we for real though.
That was
Like nah, like give me like a serious
that was
answer, bro.
something.
If you can take Ant-Man, that's up to you.
He's dead
You're
serious.
taking
I'm
Ant-Man.
taking Anthony Edwards.
It's his boy.
I think
not even-
Ant's
It's his
claim-
boy.
That's
That's
just being so biased.
that's his boy. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, 30 NBA GMs are taking Wemby. It's not even a thought.
Not the Timberwolves. Not that GM.
Even the Timberwolves are looking at it like,
Oh
10
no,
years? Wemby?
no.
We
You're
had
trolling. You're
we had
trolling.
people saying that if LeBron and Wemby was in the
Bro,
same
it's not
fucking
even
draft class,
like-
that
Wemby
people
was
was
a
picking
better
Wemby.
You're trolling at this
Bro,
point.
like,
You're trolling.
he has top 10
It's
all time
okay, too.
potential,
Ant-Man
bro.
Ant-Man is probably like top 5 you building around, but like one
Top 3
or
to
two.
me.
Nah, Ant-Man's top
is Wemby.
3.
Top
To
three
build
me,
around,
for
to
sure.
me, yes.
Who do you
I-
think it is? Who do you think is top 3? Is Wemby and who else?
I'm taking Wemby.
So you taking Ant over Luka?
No, I'm taking
I'm asking
Luka.
him.
Yo, am I taking Ant over SGA?
To answer that
Ant's
scenario, I would blindfold myself and flip a coin, and whatever it lands on, that's the play I'm going with. So if it's Anthony Edwards, then so be it. If it's Luka, then so be it.
Really, over Luka, who just got you
but
to the
Wemby
finals,
is you
and
taking it.
so for Luka that just got you to the finals and schooled his ass.
WCF
And
mattered
schooled
that
their
much.
ass.
Luka's number 1.
Okay, he's in my top 3.
Luka's number 1.
Hey, yo,
With
see,
all
that's a better
respect to
argument.
Wemby.
I respect that. But Ant-Man over Wemby, oh man, I don't know. Ant-Man's
think
definitely top 5.
You would take
Ant-Man's
Wemby over
claim.
LeBron?
Right now?
Now I'm talking about.
Oh, like if
I'm talking about like
No.
looking at Wemby's rookie year, LeBron's rookie year, player to build around. Would you take Wemby over LeBron?
I'll take LeBron.
No, I'm not saying that I would take. I'm just saying that people were saying they were saying if these two were in the same draft.
I know. I'm asking you.
Wemby's the more enticing. I mean, I'm gonna take LeBron because I know what LeBron is now.
Unfortunately, we have the idea of LeBron.
But if there's like try to take hindsight,
very
I'm not
honest.
gonna lie. I'm
as
taking
much as possible.
I might still take LeBron though.
low key. I might take LeBron. Very low key. It was
taking
very
LeBron.
fucking. I would have to think about that shit for a while though. Because I'm really think that highly of Wemby, bro. Like I think
Wemby's-
Wemby could be
you're
top
wild.
10
You're
to top
wild.
15 ever.
Wemby's definitively top 2 to me. I think your point, Ant-Man.
LeBron might be
over
the only
Luka,
player I'd take over him if we doing a redraft and we don't know anything. If we
that's
don't know how their
the
career is
best
going to pan out.
prospect
Yeah.
since Kareem. You
Here's
made
a-
the point that Ant-Man I would take over every star in the NBA, and I think his claim to fame here would be the fact he's the most durable wing player we've had the last 4 years, outside Mikal Bridges, missing just 6 games in 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And Wemby takes better care of his body than anybody, but I think a lot of NBA GMs would take Ant Edwards because they will look at the history of guys 7'4" and the injury likelihood, and they'd be a lot more comfortable with the wing
You have
player.
to take
That's
that
a
I
good
into
would
take.
account.
take Wemby,
That's a good
though.
take.
I didn't want to put that out.
I did
there.
have that fear for Wemby as well. That's a good take.
But Wemby takes remarkable care of his body, and obviously,
does.
I think he can be an outlier the way he has from skill.
I don't
That-
really
that's
care for
why-
an injury scare until it actually happens.
Yeah, I understand that.
Great
That's
point.
why
I respect that.
I don't
Respect
want to
that.
hold something against a player when something hasn't happened. But I definitely think GMs would take that into account. You can't just not
be
take
stupid
it
not to.
into
No,
account.
for sure.
You know, so but to the Anthony Edwards point, I mean, was there a little bit bias in there? Of course there was. Anthony Edwards is my favorite player in the league, along with Luka Doncic. That's my number 1 and 2. Those are my guys, and I feel like with what they've proven in their careers thus far, we only have 1 year of Wemby, so we don't have much of a sample size. But in those years, what Luka has done, 5 All-NBA first teams, 5 in a row.
Special.
2 conference finals, an NBA finals appearance.
Scoring titles.
Anthony Edwards in his 4th year being the best player on a team that made the conference finals. He made an All-NBA leap this year.
Wemby can't do that in year 3.
I think he can.
If they put
Anthony Edwards did it.
If
That's
they put the
difference.
appropriate
second
roster
team.
around Wemby, he's doing that.
Brother,
He's
I'm
doing
going to
that.
sit here and be 100% honest with you, Joel. I get you love Ant-Man.
If Anthony Edwards averages 30 next year, what are you saying?
Wemby is going to average 25, so it's not going to mean
I'm
anything.
saying, yeah, I would say 26. Actually.
it's like-
That's I think he's gonna have 25, 26.
I think so too.
He's gonna
Wemby in
bug
year
out.
1 was special.
He was.
Ant-Man wasn't special in year 1. He was
Nah,
good.
he wasn't.
He wasn't special.
No, he was
He
very
was
good.
special in year
Rookie
2.
of the year
though.
material.
Yes.
Year 2 was really
More
special.
so year 3. That's when he really
With
broke
him
out.
making a WCF and then
You know
them
who was
getting their
really
ass
special
whipped
year
isn't moving.
2? Was it Luka? Didn't Luka go from year 1
Yes,
to average
Luka in year
27?
2 special.
I gotta ask y'all a
Special.
question.
Luka was special.
Was LeBron James a top 10 player in year 2?
27, 7, and
You could
7.
argue
What,
it.
what year was that? 04,
That was
05?
05.
He still had,
Where
he
he
had
led the
Kobe.
league in minutes with
He
6
had
in
Kobe.
MVP.
KG was MVP that year. I think so. He had
Tim
Kobe,
Duncan,
KG.
Shaq.
He was all NBA
Tim
second team
Duncan.
that season.
D
He
Wade.
was better than T-Mac.
Was he better than D Wade?
Probably a little bit.
Because D Wade was
D-Wade
on
was
some
up there
shit.
too. He was better than T-Mac already.
So
Sure,
this is from an article on NBA.com. This is prior. So look back at how NBA GMs viewed the league prior to the 2004 and 2005 season. Which team will win the NBA Finals in 2005? Number 1 was the Spurs, 45.2%.
They won.
They did win the Finals.
In 7.
If you are starting a franchise today and could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? Number 1 was Tim Duncan, 47% of the
That's
votes.
a good take.
Number 2 was Kevin Garnett, 28.6%.
MVP.
Number 3 was LeBron, 14.3%. And number 4 was Shaq, 9.5%.
That was Shaq on Miami, right?
No,
That was
04
Shaq in
his
Miami.
Oh,
That was Shaq in
no,
Miami.
Just got to
that's
Miami.
crazy.
Yeah, he just got to
I'm
Miami.
putting Kobe in that spot.
And then this is another
Maybe
poll.
higher.
Did they have more stuff? Which player would you want taking a shot with the game on the line? 81% of the votes went to Kobe Bryant.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They loved Kobe back in that time.
Which player is the best leader? Kevin Garnett was 1, Jason Kidd was 2, Tim Duncan was 3.
That's great.
And who will win the 04-05 MVP? Shaq was at 57%. First year in Miami to win MVP.
That's interesting.
That leader one was a good one.
The
Definitely KG.
The question I asked you guys before was LeBron James top 10 in 2005? I think we all agree. Was Luka Doncic top 10 in 2020, his second year?
When I used to have this debate with him like
think
years
so.
ago, he wasn't really adamant on putting him in it until the season was over.
I'm asking
I
this
don't like
because
changing my list.
Nah, I
mid-season.
respect. Yeah, I respect.
we've seen many superstars and generational prospects before be top 10 by the end of their sophomore year. And I don't see why it's...
Except Zion.
Yeah, but Zion, he's like top 15, like top 20
Yo,
because of
Zion
the
was
year he
nasty
had
that
year
year.
2.
Yeah.
The same goes for guys like Tim Duncan. I don't see why Wemby can't go from top 30 now to top 10 a year from today.
I
Top
can
10
see
are
it.
more
I feel like top. I
talented
feel
now.
like top
At least
15 is more
prior.
safer. It's a
You can
safer
make the case
projection.
maybe a guy's higher than him, but definitely in the conversation for top 10 players.
I'm not going to say
Top
he
15?
can't do it.
Yeah,
Because
like
I think
Devin Booker
there's
or
a
LeBron now.
possibility he does do it. I think there's a possibility that a year from now I'll look foolish for taking Anthony Edwards because Victor Wembanyama is that special.
DPOY?
That's how special he is. But I could also see a possibility where Anthony Edwards goes on another deep playoff run and does his thing and averages 29 and is top 5 in MVP voting next year too. I could see Anthony Edwards breaking out again and taking another leap in his game to where I'm still going to put respect on Anthony Edwards. That's just me though. I'm still putting respect on that man.
I'll
That's
get
just me.
called a hater for this, taking Wemby over him. This is where the hating stuff comes in. Watch, I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
so you can call me a hater then.
Yeah, yeah.
You think Anthony Edwards can finish top 5 in MVP voting next year?
Yeah, I do.
Next year, yes.
Take
Did he
away
finish
from
top 5
Tatum,
this year?
I think he finished top 10. I don't think he finished top 5.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Sorry.
MVP
Didn't know
voting
track that.
stats. Yeah, look. Okay, let me see the
I'm sorry about that.
I'm trying to see
Got like
last
one
year.
fourth place vote.
I'm trying to see last year who was this past season who is the MVP voters. Okay. So, most valuable player Nikola Jokic, SGA was 2, Luka was 3, Giannis was 4, 5 was Brunson, 6 was Tatum, 7 was Ant-Man.
No.
8 was Sabonis, 9 was KD.
9 was what?
Sabonis.
is
8 was
crazy.
Sabonis, 9 was KD.
Ah, okay. It's cute.
So what's the team that you have for Lauri Markkanen, Riv?
I guess the easy answer would be the Warriors, but realistically, I just want Steph to get another star. I don't think
He desperately needs.
yeah, that's all I want. I think the Spurs was the one I was thinking about, like outside of Golden State. I really do like that whole two big tandem, Lauri playing the 4, him being a movement shooter. And I think people don't watch enough Lauri, because I think Lauri does put the ball on the floor, but he's not. Like, he doesn't do a lot of movements. It's just straight.
He's not an initiator.
Yeah, he makes quick movements. If he's either going to the rim or he's pulling up. If it's not there, he passes the ball back out. You know, it's not a lot of tools to his bag. He's very just right to the point, right to it. That's why I think like he's either catching it off the shoot, getting right to the rim, because he's not a terrible dribbler. He just doesn't use a lot of his ball handling skills, and I understand that. 7 feet, you just want to get right to it. But I think Lauri in San Antonio, I don't think he would like rush the process. You know, we look at a couple teams that's done that. You could look at Minnesota. They kind of did that to a degree, but it ended up working out. You know, WCF. Cleveland's another team that kind of did that when they got Donovan Mitchell. I don't think Lauri would rush that, because I think he's not a guy that's going to hinder or try to step over Victor. I think Victor's the clear guy. You're bringing in Lauri to be a sidekick next to Wemby, and I think his game would work perfectly next to Victor. You know, I think his game is beautiful for damn near any star in the league. You know, I think he's on a nice low contract. The one thing is, if you get him, you do have to pay him. I think San Antonio is in a prime position to pay him that money. You know, they got a buttload of picks, and they got a lot of young talent. I just would like, you know, they just picked up Stephon Castle in the draft too, so they're kind of building their core of who they want. But I'm not mad if they take another year to wait for it. You know, I think they can wait, see how much longer. Because Lauri, if he doesn't get dealt this summer, he'll be in Utah for another year. So it's not going to be a rush to go out and get him. But San Antonio was definitely one of the teams I was looking for. There's only a few teams right now that's been gunning for Lauri heavy. I think it was Miami, it was Golden State, it was San Antonio. The Kings were in the race for a little bit until they just went out and they got DeMar. But San Antonio definitely would be my move.
I thought the Kings were going to be in the race to get Lauri, but now that they got DeMar, they're probably not going to get him at all. Keegan Murray would have had to probably been in the trade package, and I got a lot of mixed reviews on it when I posted it on Twitter. You know, Riv said that the Jazz GM would hang up. Jokic Joestar said that the Jazz would hang up because I had Keegan Murray.
You only had one pick.
I had Trey Lyles, and I had one pick, which was lottery protected. Which, you know, I understand lottery protected. You're protecting yourself a lot there, but I do feel as if the Jazz going into a rebuild, it does make sense to bring in a piece like Keegan Murray, who I think one day can maybe become a player that's similar to Lauri Markkanen, and it's not that far off. I think Lauri's by far the better player right now. But with the Golden State fit, it intrigues me because I feel like whenever I hear Lauri Markkanen to the Golden State Warriors rumors, it's always sunshine and rainbows. This would be perfect. This is Steph's second star. But I think about the Warriors' problems, and I think one of the major problems they have that happened last year was that they cannot get consistent paint touches. Steph is the only guy that is relied upon to get inside the paint. And Lauri Markkanen, yes, you're adding a sniper to the team, but he is a terrible pull-up shooter. He is somebody that shot 20% on his pull-up threes. He's somebody that is not going to attack the basket and get downhill. He's very much an off-ball movement shooter, just spot-up player. And having him in Golden State, yes, they become better, but to the point that I think they can be a serious contender, I really don't see it, because I think if you have a team where defenses can guard you and not really worry about you driving to the basket, they can play up on your threes. So I think Lauri would be good for Golden State. I mean, if they had Lauri, let's just say the trade package is surrounded around Kuminga, Curry, AirPods, Wiggins, Lauri, Dre, off the bench, Trace, Hield, Melton, Anderson, Looney. That's a very damn good team. But I don't know if the ceiling is all that high with Lauri Markkanen.
That's a great point that you made, and I think you guys both touched on it with Lauri. He's not someone that's going to come up out of transition and start creating an advantage himself. What he really is elite attacking closeouts. Better than almost any player at 7 feet tall. And he's a good ball handler for that size. But again, like you just highlighted, he's not someone who's going to run your offense. I think that's where he has to go to a place to play alongside stars like I think of Zion in New Orleans, because they have an abundance of draft picks. Someone who's going to open up the game for him to then play as a sensational second side scorer.
I agree. And that's why I don't like the Golden State fit all that much. The Warriors have a new look roster. I think all things considered, I think the offseason was pretty good. If you were to grade the Warriors offseason and also tell me if they got better or stayed the same, what were your answers to that be?
I'd give it like a B minus, C plus. You know, I do think they got marginally better. You know, I think the upgrades they brought in was pretty good. You know, you mentioned that they couldn't get to the rim, but they also couldn't shoot shots either. You know, they also couldn't, like, there was a buttload of problems with the Warriors last year. They couldn't get to the rim outside of maybe two guys at best. They couldn't consistently get an open look. They couldn't consistently create their own baskets outside, of course, Steph Curry. So you have a situation where you have to bring in guys that fill one problem and then focus on the other. And I think Melton fills two problems. You know, he can defend on the perimeter. He can hit the three ball. I think Kyle Anderson fills one problem. Maybe two. He's another playmaker. No, we already had that. Defensively, he just comes in. He can be a good defender. You know, I think Buddy Hield fills one problem. He's a great floor spacer. So it's like these guys fill a need, and I think Mike Dunleavy has done the best job he could with what he's got. You know, he's been aggressive, and that's all you can ask. He's tried to get PG. Clippers said, no, we're not doing it. He's been aggressive in trying to get Lauri Markkanen. Utah isn't budging. So at minimum, you can see a GM be aggressive, and that's all you've ever wanted because Bob Myers wasn't the most aggressive guy. You know, and he's went out and got Warriors-like players, guys that fit the system. Now, in the West, where the top four are pretty much solidified and other teams are getting substantially better, I think the only problem for me with Golden State is not their role players. I think the role players are fine. It's just having a consistent number two. I think Draymond Green isn't a number two. He's a defensive anchor. And offensively, you need a number two. Everybody has one. SGA has one. LeBron has one. Even Luka. Fox has one. You know, Luka has one. The only one, even John Moran has one. Desmond Bane is a damn good one. Well, I'm not talking about the East. I'm talking about the West. But, you know, everybody in the West essentially has one that's a playoff team, a play-in team. And Steph is the only one out. And I think that's the one thing that's really holding this team back. But all in all, and just looking at the role players and how they improved based off losing Klay, I think they've got marginally better. So I would probably give it B minus, C plus. You know, nothing too crazy.
I would also give the Warriors all season a B because to me, the biggest problem for them last year obviously was a lack of variety offensively. And you let go of Klay, you move on from Chris Paul for the wave. You even let go of Dario Saric and Ferenczi to sign the Nuggets. And I think D'Anthony, I think you're sleeping on my boy over here. I think D'Anthony Melton,
Don't be an idiot, John.
If healthy, D'Anthony Melton, if healthy, is a perfect fit for you guys because he fulfills the two-way void that you haven't really had in that backcourt with Gary Payton's injuries. Because with Melton, a big thing is he's a really good on-ball defender, yes, but at 6'4", he is one of the best defensive playmakers, and he can even help around the rim too with how athletic he is. And then the other side of it is Buddy Hield comes in, right? And he fulfills the same exact role offensively as Klay, and I think he gives you 85 to 90% of that same value. If he's getting more minutes, he can put up very similar production. Kyle Anderson's a decent move off that bench. And I think more than anything for the Warriors, they can rely more safely on those young guys like Trace, Brandon Budzinski, and Kuminga to develop and play larger roles than, say, 2 years ago, and those guys were a lot less ready. So the Warriors have had a good offseason, and I just like all of the moves that Mike Dunleavy's made after, of course, letting go of one of their franchise's all-time players.
This bench is beautiful. Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson. That's a great bench.
Are we sure Kuminga's not starting at the 3?
Wiggins might start
over
again.
Wiggins?
Wiggins might. Well, if Wiggins comes to the bench, still, it's dope either way. I'll be honest with you. So, I'm cool with either one.
This bench is pretty phenomenal. I'll be honest. Like, I think this is a dream bench. I think ideally this is the exact kind of bench that people wish Bob Myers built back when the Warriors were still kind of stacking young talent and needed to improve their bench with veteran presences. This is that exact bench. But the starting lineup with Steph, Pods, Wiggins, Trace, and Dre, I just really think they're just missing a secondary creator. That's the biggest thing with them.
Yeah, like I agree with the sentiment that you guys were saying. I mean, this team has great role players. This team has great role players. He mentioned Melton. He mentioned, I guess, Andrew Wiggins is a role player. Draymond Green plays a certain role. This team is literally missing a second scorer to take the offensive pressure off Steph Curry. There was, like Rich said, there was so many games last year where I would tune into Warriors games, and everything runs through Steph Curry. So much so to the point where people were saying that he regressed as a player because he had so much of an offensive overload. If you can get Steph Curry a consistent 20 to 23 points per game score, like the likes of, like even like a Desmond Bane, like a John Morant has, how River alluded to, that every elite team has a number 2. I think this Warriors team can be, I don't want to say right back into contention as like a tier 1 contender, but they can definitely be a tier 2 contender. This is all this team needs. The role players, everything around Steph Curry is fine. They just need to find a way to get a second scoring option for this team.
Ramona Shelburne said this, that the Warriors' decision to extend Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole in 2022 didn't sit well with Draymond Green and Klay Thompson.
Crying. Oh, yeah, I did see that.
And I look at that.
Pocket watching.
And I'm kind of just like, the question I have for the Warriors, really an overarching question, is where did things go wrong for them? And was it preventable in any way?
It has to be after the title that summer when they decided to do the 2 timeline. Or it could go further. James Wiseman, when you picked him.
Yeah.
But then again, you won the title, so you can kind of like, what's the word I want to use? You can kind of rebuttal that.
You can
or
afford
you
for
can
that
afford
to
for that,
happen.
yeah. But then
Give and
you,
take.
in the next draft, you get Kuminga, who's a project player. You probably could have got somebody that fits more. You got Moody, probably could have got somebody that fits more. So it's like it's not one like specific moment. It's like a bunch of moments that piling up. And you kept putting a Band-Aid on it, and then the Band-Aid just couldn't heal what was going on, and then eventually it all crashed down.
I just don't think you can have it both ways. You can't win a championship and simultaneously develop an incredible young core, right? The Warriors got that championship in 2022, and as you point out, they took Jonathan Kuminga over Franz Wagner, who won a pick later. They took Moses Moody over, say, Alperen Şengün, who was actually more of a developmental prospect at that stage. There are different picks that maybe they could have went different. And the biggest example, that's 2020. We all know that at this point. And I think along with the fact they were trying the 2 timeline approach, Bob Myers just didn't draft particularly well enough for things to go super fluid. And Klay Thompson was 33 years old, coming off 2 of the worst possible injuries an athlete could have. Yeah. So I think his regression and him just not being the same player he once was, that was to be expected. And I think it's just really just age. It's really hard to extend a dynasty past a decade. You don't really see that too often.
Yeah, it's difficult. And I really don't think that there were many things the Warriors could have done that much different outside of the draft. I do feel as if Draymond Green and Klay Thompson could have been better leaders and examples.
Yeah.
Because when Jordan Poole and Wiggins got paid, because they were far younger, and you can argue they had just as big or a bigger impact than Klay and Dre in the NBA Finals run, they got bitter because they got paid. And Jordan Poole, it happened to the point where he was supposed to be the next guy up for Golden State, and Draymond Green punches him, and the entire chemistry for the year is completely shot. Andrew Wiggins is kind of an odd case. I feel like his regression kind of happened on his own. I don't think like anything had to do with it. Outside of maybe like family, personal experiences, and just things he went through in his life. But Jordan Poole is just the biggest one where I feel as if the older players on the team, specifically Dre, kind of got bitter because it was really between Poole and Draymond Green between who got paid first.
Yeah. I think also with Draymond too, you point out the fact he knocked out his teammate. Right. Not a great start.
Knockout is nuts.
I mean,
he got up.
I ain't gonna lie.
He got him right away.
Nah, it wasn't right away. He was sitting there like this.
I saw his knees buckle, bro.
Nah, he dropped. He knocked him down. He didn't get knocked out. He was sitting there like this.
Yeah, he didn't put him out. He didn't put him out cold, but he put him to the floor.
You know, he was he was on the floor. He was awake. He just like, damn, he really hit me.
I just think more than anything, the temperament that these guys all had was partially a byproduct of how much they'd accomplished, that they moved a little bit differently. Like, if Draymond never had a championship, I don't think you'd see the, I guess you could say, outbursts and moments that he's had, which has led to suspensions. And in many ways, their success, winning 4 championships, it's making them one of the best dynasties of all time. But I think that maybe not ego, but that pride that they had, that plays a role into it. And I think for most athletes, you're going to get that with how often they reach the end of the mountaintop. They felt like there's nothing really more for us to accomplish after that 2022 reign.
This week in the NBA, I have a Would You Rather for you guys. This is Would You Rather DeMar DeRozan edition. First name up, Mikal Bridges.
Debo.
What's my team? Damn.
Debo.
It does depend on the team that you got.
Debo's
I think
better,
Debo's
bro.
he's a better offensive
Debo's
player.
better than
I'm
him,
gonna go. I'll go Debo.
I'm going Mikal Bridges here.
Desmond Bain.
You're taking players who are totally different archetypes, and I just value this
Desmond
archetype
Bane.
more. I would also take Desmond Bane too. I think he's a better number 2. He's more scalable.
I think he's just a better player.
You think he's just a better player
than DeMar DeRozan?
When
Scores
you give in the fact that he
Playmaking's
can hit
that
the 3
close.
ball and he's very efficient,
Better
and he can
defender,
play make,
for
he can
sure.
defend.
He's a
Oh,
good
yeah,
defender.
Give me Bane. Give me Bane.
Amazing off-ball player.
And I like Debo.
I ain't gonna lie, these guys convinced me. I think I'll take
I know how I
Bane,
feel
too.
about Deep Ski.
Oh, I'm definitely taking. Desmond Bane has averaged 24 points and 5.5 assists in 37 games. I think he can sustain that over 82.
DeJounte Murray.
DeMar DeRozan. I would have to say DeMar. It's very close.
Debo.
Pascal Siakam.
Pascal Siakam.
Pascal.
Jalen Williams.
J-Dub.
Yep.
Right now, I'm taking DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan.
A year from
I'm
now,
taking Debo.
take Jalen Williams.
Taking Debo.
Shit, I'll go J-Dub.
Julius Randle.
DeMar DeRozan.
Julius Randle.
Yeah, I'm taking Julius Randle too, bro.
You taking Julius Randle?
Yeah. He's all NBA
They're kind
player
of like
twice.
the same, bro. They're great
Was he
regular
an
season
NBA
players,
player
and
twice
they
if he
suck
was
in the
playing New Orleans?
postseason.
Ooh, Cook.
Who?
I don't think so. Would Julius Randle still be a 2-time
Would
All-NBA
DeMar
player
be
if
an
he stayed in
All-NBA
New
player if
Orleans?
he stayed in San Antonio?
Hell
Putting
no.
up that production?
He wouldn't. No. What are
Okay.
you telling me?
What I'm
best
saying
season-
is the reason why Randall's a
think
2-time
he
All-NBA
was
player, he
25 and
benefited.
10.
He benefited from the market. I don't think he gets that. I don't think he gets that
No,
recognition. if he's, playing
he's not
small
doing that
market.
in San Antonio. I mean, I think his best season in San Antonio was what 22-7. He grew as a playmaker over there,
Randle
but
was
he's not an
25
All-NBA
and 10.
player
He
over
played
there.
I know
in the
he got
media
better
and
as a
making
player
the
than
NBA.
that player.
Julius Randle was 25, 10, and 5.
Yeah, but
essentially.
I don't know
yeah.
if it's a media thing. There.
24, 10, and 6
Hate
one
shit
year
right
too.
there. Hate
Then he
crime.
shoot 41% from the 3 one year.
Yeah, he did. In
One of those
2021.
All-NBA seasons.
Yeah, he did.
When nobody was in the crowd.
Taking DeMar over Randall.
Chris Middleton.
Today.
Today I'm taking DeMar. Hate to say it.
Chris is healthy. Give me Chris.
I'm gonna take Debo.
This is a dog. in the
Prime Chris
playoffs.
Middleton, give me C-mid.
Oh hell yeah.
He said C mid.
K. You gotta say
K-mid.
K-mid. K-mid.
Now you're nuts.
He said C
I just
mid.
rolled off the tongue a lot more fluid, you know.
James Harden.
Harden. I'm still taking Harden.
I'm taking Harden too. I'm taking James Harden.
These are some really close comps.
These some good comps.
I'll go with James Harden, but I don't really feel like you go either way there.
Paulo Banchero.
Oh,
Paolo.
Paolo. Not thinking twice.
Paulo Banchero.
Easy.
And then this is the last name. It's Brandon Ingram.
I would
Still
take
give
Brandon
me
Ingram.
B.I.
I would take Ingram. Jeez.
BI too. I'll take BI. I like BI. I'm a fan.
All right. Here, my this week in the NBA is I want you guys to, and I'm going to write it down so you guys can. I want you to build a 10-man roster that you think, and do this collectively. I want you to build a 10-man roster that you can think, let me start over. I want you to build a 10-man roster that you think can beat the USA team that we have today with the rest of the players in the NBA.
Okay, just European players, I'm assuming.
You can use anybody you
Anybody.
want.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can use anybody
Yeah,
you
I
want.
have to look at the
obviously-
roster.
So they got Embiid, they got KD, they got Steph, they got LeBron, they got the big heavy hitters, they got Ant-Man. They have a polar bear in Hallie. He's over there.
They got Devin Booker.
Devin Booker's there. Drew Holiday is there. Who else is there? I'm blanking on names, but there's a few more.
Joel
I can pull it
Embiid?
up.
I said Joel Embiid. He's
Did I say
starting.
Joel Embiid?
Yeah. So
Okay.
they got some dogs there. So we're gonna start first. Point guard. Who would be your point guard?
Luka.
If we got to pick one point guard, I mean, I think, Luka does give us the best
Luka,
chance.
yeah.
It's Luka Doncic.
Okay. Luka.
I was going to mention Drake. I feel like he deserves to be on the USA team, but Luka obviously.
Who is your
top,
shooting guard?
top three
And you can
player.
go down the list. You don't got to just go shooting guard. You can go to jump to big man.
So shooting guard, Anthony Edwards is on the team. Devin Booker's on the team.
Spider.
Donovan Mitchell is on the team, or he's not on the
No,
team.
unfortunately,
Not on the
they
team.
put a bunch of bums in front of him.
So who would we rather have next to Luka, Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brown?
You
I'm
know what?
surprised. Oh, I'm surprised Brown wasn't.
You know
there.
what? Jalen Brown, bro.
Jalen
Just because
Brown,
he
yeah.
offers defense.
The on-ball
Yeah, the
defense,
on-ball
yeah.
defense is very.
Yeah, I would go with Jalen Brown
Yeah.
too because we need
Yes.
the defense,
So
especially
Jalen-
next to Luka.
Jalen Brown, the fraud JB, is at the 2 guard.
Let's put a little bit of respect on his name. It's a Fountain State.
The fraud is crazy.
I'm sorry.
was wild.
When you think of JB, you don't think of Brown. You know, he's like the 3rd guy you think of, but okay. Think of JB Butler first.
Actually, I do think of him
you're
first.
like
Nah, when I think of JB, I think of Jimmy.
I'm not 12.
yeah, I think of
21.
Jimmy.
I think of Jimmy,
then I think of
too.
Brunson.
No one
but I
calls,
don't
no one
think of.
calls Jalen Brunson JB.
No, I'm just saying when I think of.
No, I've heard
when I
people
think
call
of
Jalen
JB,
Brunson
I'm thinking of
JB
them two
plenty of
first, and
times.
then I think of
Me
Brown.
in my life, I definitely have heard people
We've
say
saying
JB.
JB for Butler for like 10 years.
I don't hear that often. For
What are you talking?
Brunson.
I've heard it for Brunson before. I ain't
Who's your small forward, man? Lock me in.
So they
LeBron's
they have
gone.
Tatum, they have LeBron.
They have KD. They got some dogs.
They got
Kawhi,
Tatum.
they have
Tatum's on the
Kawhi.
team.
They
Tatum's
have
on the team,
Kawhi.
Joel.
yeah,
They
he's
have
on the
Kawhi.
team.
They don't have Paul George,
Yo, what about Jimmy?
damn.
Brandon Ingram.
They have Kawhi Leonard, bro.
Jimmy?
Brother, they have Kawhi, LeBron.
That's what I'm
They have
saying.
the top
nothing.
four.
Jimmy,
small
They have
Jimmy.
everybody.
You got to take Jimmy, bro.
Yeah, I think that could be a good selection.
Like, we
I
could.
still want to wait and just name some more names. Jimmy Butler. They have Kawhi Leonard too.
Yeah, they have the.
We could
four
take
best.
Paulo at the 3.
I don't know if I'm taking him over Jimmy
Against
Butler.
LeBron or KD?
Nah,
I'll
I'm
let
taking
the 3.
Jimmy, bro. I think Jimmy's a safer pick, bro.
Fair enough. I don't mind Jimmy.
Do you?
We
know?
got it.
The fake JB?
I was just giving. Oh, I just said JB. I did.
Gotta.
I don't mind.
I think we got to go with Jimmy Butler. He's the
have
best
to.
available. Jimmy Butler.
All right, so Jimmy Butler. So you got Jimmy and Jaylen Brown holding
next-
down the fort on the perimeter. Not terrible.
Next two are easy, bro.
Who's your power forward?
Giannis.
Giannis.
What about Anthony Davis?
He's on the
He's
team.
on the
He's gonna
team.
be.
Oh, he's on the team.
Yeah, they got everybody, dude.
We have to go Giannis.
Yeah, and then
That's right.
Jokic at center.
I shouldn't even allow you guys to use those guys because they play for other teams, but I'm gonna allow it.
That's
If
crazy.
not,
He's
we
trying
take
to.
one B.
Oh,
What'd he say?
word. He said if you did that, he would have taken Wemby.
Wemby's on the team.
Yeah,
It's
Wemby's on France.
Oh, I thought.
And
you
so
could
is
take-
Gobert.
Guy, what is up
Oh,
with this
because
guy, bro?
Luka was eliminated. I get
And
it.
Bam's
I
on the
thought-
team.
I thought the premise of this was
No, you're
taking
good.
guys.
I'm allowing this. You're good. So you got your starting 5 right now, which is a fire starting 5
Uh-huh.
that could compete. You got Luka at the 1, Jaylen Brown at the 2, JB at the 3. We know who that is, correct?
Yeah.
Giannis at the 4, the Joker at the 5. I'm assuming the USA team is going to start Steph, KD, Kawhi, LeBron, and Embiid. So it matches up well.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I like our
That's a
chances.
crazy
We
matchup.
have the
I
3
like our
best players
chances.
in the world, and then
I
Jimmy
like our
Butler
chances
and
with that
Jalen
team.
Brown as our 4th and 5th.
Yo,
starters.
this is a
And they're
matchup.
defensive
This
stoppers.
is a matchup.
That's
this
a
Then
is
we got the
starting
rim.
lineup.
We got the rim
Yes.
protector and Giannis, I guess, like to
Right,
a lower
exactly.
lower extent.
For sure.
Not like he
He's
used
the
to.
help.
He has to go
he's
out
the
there
help
and
side
guard.
rim protector.
Oh, Joel.
With
No, Giannis. He has to go out there and guard.
Who?
Kevin Durant and Kawhi. He has to take somebody.
Oh, damn, because we got Joker.
Yeah, he has to take somebody.
This
He
isn't
can't
him.
guard
This-
Steph.
yeah, this isn't
I'll
him
put him on
guarding PJ
KD.
Tucker in the corner. That's true.
You saw how that went
Yo,
before.
I'm not gonna lie. Our spacing is kind of shot.
Is
Sneaky.
it really?
Yeah.
Sneaky.
Well, we
fuck,
got Butler
yeah.
and Giannis in the 4th.
Now,
Jokic can.
the bench players left on the USA team are Bam, AD, Tatum, Devin Booker, Ant-Man, Hallie, Drew Holiday. So who are your 5 bench players?
I would go with Kristaps Porzingis or Victor Wembanyama. Can we select Wemby or no?
Hell yeah.
You can have one.
Hell yeah.
We could. Then I'll go with Victor Wembanyama. That's my next pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Who's
For the
your next?
power forward spot,
I wish Bam. Was
I
not
feel
on
like
the team.
we really need some spacing desperately. I would go with Lauri Markkanen
Yeah.
for spacing.
I think Desmond Bain double dip on that.
I want to see if we could get somebody better.
Who did he
first.
say?
He said Desmond.
Shit,
Bain.
shit,
Brother,
we
there's
could
mad
yo,
names
we
you
could
can
take
get
Donovan
to
Mitchell off the
Yeah.
bench.
Oh, Donovan Mitchell off
Okay,
the bench.
Donovan's a good one.
That's obvious.
Is
You
Paul
said
George on
Desmond
Team
Bain.
USA?
No, he's not.
No.
Who?
Paul George is not.
I
on
was
Team
thinking him
USA.
too. I was still him. I don't know if
There's
he's on the
definitely an
team.
option.
Low key, Wemby, Laurie, Paul George, Donovan Mitchell.
So
That's
Paul
really
George is
good.
on your team.
Yeah,
I'll
we
take
need one
Paul
more,
George.
right?
I'll take Paul
You need
George.
2 more. Wemby, you have Wemby, Donovan, PG off the bench.
So what position is point guard? We need.
It's a
backup.
bench.
Oh,
You can
okay.
pick whatever you want. But just know they bench is crazy.
Ian take Porzingis or
They have
Wemby.
Brunson.
No, they don't.
You gotta take Brunson off the bench. I'm cool with that.
You sure you want him in this type of environment? He's a little small.
We could take Brunson, or we could take someone. Kyrie's an option
You
too.
need some defense off the bench, man, on the perimeter.
We definitely do need. But we got Paul George on defense.
You're right, you do. You do.
We got Paul
You need
George.
more though.
I don't think that's enough.
They have Bam, AD off the bench.
Yeah, but
Ant-Man.
Oh, hold on. Can we take SGA off the bench?
SGA, you can take him off the
Oh
bench.
yeah, we gotta take SGA off the bench, bro.
okay.
Take SGA off the bench, bro.
Shit.
SGA
Shit, I
Donovan,
might have low key
Markkinen,
started
Paul
him over
George.
JB if I could do it all over again. I'm not gonna even hold you. But we need defense. But SGA's defense is pretty good.
Put SGA in there.
Now we need a rim protector
You have
behind. Well, I
Word.
thought we didn't take Wemby yet. I thought we didn't take Wemby.
now we
I
got
asked,
Wemby is
I asked
crazy.
that.
You
y'all
can just
didn't
get
say it.
another wing. You have Wemby. Wemby can sit in the paint.
Oh yeah, no defense
USA,
at 3
yeah.
sec.
so right now off the bench we have Wemby, Lauri Markkanen.
You did not say that, but I'll add him.
Oh, Lauri Markkanen.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
Lauri
sir.
Markkanen.
Okay.
Yeah, add him.
So your bench now is Wemby, Donovan, PG, SGA, Lauri. You need 2 more players.
What do you think we need, Joe?
I'm just
I
thinking
feel like
about
I just want two-way players. It's really I could go with Porzingis too. I would be down for Kristaps
Jalen Suggs?
Porzingis.
I'm thinking of really awesome point of attack defenders.
Jalen Suggs ain't getting on no team right now.
Look, listen, I get he's maybe not one of the first stars you think of.
He
but
might be on the
I'm thinking
select
about
team.
I'm thinking about glue guys.
Okay,
I'm
respect.
thinking
they
about-
do have Drew Holiday. Maybe Derek White.
I was thinking Derek White low key, but I don't know.
or Jalen Suggs. I'm cool with White. Love to have him on my team.
Let me look at the utility guys, John.
Mikal Bridges.
My goodness,
Stop.
Mikel, that's not terrible.
OG Anunoby.
I would be fire.
That's good.
Yeah,
I could rock out with OG.
Yeah, we could have faked just revision this a little bit. We could have faked through in John Morant too, but whatever.
Yeah,
They
I
already
would
have
have
enough
taken.
guards.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Him or
saying. Like
Trey?
just earlier.
I'm fine with how many spots we got left.
2 spots left.
Two
You have
spots?
your bench
Yo.
right now is Wemby, Donovan, PG, SGA, Laurie. Not
I
bad.
think Anunoby and like Derek White to close out's pretty good.
Yeah, I like
Yes,
that. OG
yes,
Anunoby,
that
Derek
is
White.
good.
We don't need
That's fine.
creators. We need
That is
those
good.
utility guys.
so. Okay,
No, that is very good actually.
It's amazing.
you definitely do need that nowadays.
I'm fucking with
So
that.
the team that you guys drafted to go against this 2024 USA team is you got Luka at the 1, Jaylen Brown at the 2, Jimmy Butler at the 3, Giannis at the 4, the Joker at the 5. Coming off your bench, Wemby, Donovan, PG, SGA, Laurie, OG, and Derek White. All in all, I think you guys.
I'm not gonna hold you. I think our team could beat them.
You probably can.
I think,
I ain't
Not
gonna
all
lie.
European
I think we
players.
have the right approach.
I think we picked
you
about
were
as perfect
talking
as a
about
team as
Desmond Bane and shit. Like,
We needed
Nah,
shit.
he's like, you need a rim protector.
We needed
I got
shooting.
Wemby.
And I didn't know we took Wemby at that point.
this guy, he knows nothing, man. No, that's a good team. That's a good team, man. This team,
He's a bully.
the team they got is nuts. So that's a good team. I'm not mad at that.
What's your this week in the NBA, John?
I personally don't have one.
I mean, I got one. I think this is a huge moment in NBA history, but I think today or tomorrow marks the day that LeBron James made the decision. Now, there's a lot of people who have fixed opinions on it. They think that it made the sport better. They think it made the sport worse. All I know is that decision of him leaving when it was popular to stay with your team like a MJ and Kobe Bryant or other people, that changed the entire landscape of the NBA. To this day, it pretty much kickstarted the player empowerment era. And like I said, however people view it is how you view it. I like it for the league because a lot of the debates when I used to have with the older people when it was like between LeBron or whatever is they would always like put a stranglehold on LeBron for leaving a bad franchise that wasn't really doing much to, build around him. Took matters into his own hand, and you can say it helped his career out tremendously. Kevin Durant, I'm not saying it helped his career out, but it helped him voice his opinion on places where he wanted to go. Don't be surprised if Giannis exercised the same thing when his contract's over Milwaukee. So, it depends how you view it. I know some people don't like the constant, I don't want to play here, so I'm going to request a trade, which has happened with James Harden, for example, a couple other players. But then other people feel that is if you're not happy there and you want a chance to win the championship and this franchise is not accommodating your play style or helping you reach your ultimate goal that you could leave, then, that's how you view it. But I think that was a huge moment in the history of the game and something that I think was definitely going to live on forever now.
Definitely. Player empowerment's a good thing. And
it's not.
the first episode date, it was released on July 8th, 2010. It's
I was
crazy.
a day late.
It's crazy that it's been it's tomorrow. It's crazy that it's been 14 years.
Day early, part of me.
Yeah.
That was day early. Damn.
Because
Close.
it felt like it was like 7 years ago for me. Obviously, a lot more time's passed since then. I guess this wouldn't be this week in the NBA per se, but over the last week, I thought more and more about the DeJounte Murray trade to New Orleans, and the more I thought about his fit within their offense,
The one you hated, you mean?
the more that I realized the Pelicans absolutely need to keep Brandon Ingram. Because you look at Brandon Ingram the last couple of years, where he's always operated best as one of the best mid-range scorers and one of, if not the best passer among any forward in the NBA. Among wings, I should say, not named LeBron maybe. And I look at what DeJounte brings to the table. Him and CJ McCollum are those initial perimeter creators who can allow Brandon Ingram to play inside the paint, operating off those short actions where he hasn't really had that opportunity to because they've never had quite enough perimeter creation or scoring from the outside in recent years. And I think that would allow him to be best served in a role where, quite frankly, he's never actually been that. So I think that is something that people have been talking about. Where's Brandon Ingram going to go? If I am the Pelicans, I'm looking to keep him to see what he can be now.
I feel like stacking talent is never a bad thing, and the Pelicans have a lot of it. They just have to see if it fits.
They got a shit ton of guys.
It's not too far off from the Kings. I mean, they're trying to fit 3 guys who you wouldn't think fit the best next to each other, and the Pelicans are the same way with Zion, B.I., and DeJounte. I feel like CJ could fit into any role. I feel like he's fine.
Yeah.
But really, DeJounte, Brandon Ingram, and Zion, how they're going to play, it's still a question mark. I had something else in this week in the NBA because I don't feel like we've talked about it on the show, and I feel like it should be talked about. Franz Wagner got a 5-year, $225 million extension.
Shooting tour dates in the playoffs.
Franz Wagner is now about to get paid $50+ million annually. Do you think this was an overpay? That's the question.
Yeah, at the moment, yes. But only because, here's the thing. People always think overpays mean, oh my God, you think he sucks. Oh my God, you don't think he's good. No, I wouldn't say that. I like the way Philly went about Maxi's extension. We knew Maxey deserved an extension. We knew Maxey was going to earn the extension. They decided to wait until the end of the offseason of next year, which was last year, because we knew they needed an extension. Helped them get more cap. They knew who they were going to get. Then they pay him. I didn't see the issue in Orlando waiting for the Franz extension. You know, I thought they could have waited a little bit. I didn't even think he would get that amount of money. I thought him getting more than Cade and Scotty was a little wild because I don't think all those guys are far off as players. And I think he's the third best out of those 3 guys I just named. But to get all that money, I mean, that's a lot of expectations, you know. And I feel like Orlando, they feel like they got a guy who's a Swiss Army knife, a guy who can get to the rim at will. You know, he's really good around the rim in terms of finishing. Really good defender, long. He had a jumper his rookie year. Don't know what happened to it, but you know, he has a nice form. It's not ugly or nothing like that. He just couldn't hit shots this year. So the extension was definitely eye-popping for me. I definitely think it's, of course, an overpay because he hasn't done anything. You know, he hasn't really, you know, done anything to show he deserves 270,
225.
That's $57 million annually.
It's essentially
if he made all NBA.
It's $1 million less than Cade Cunningham got.
So
Cade got 5 years, 226.
Yeah, he hasn't done an insane amount, but you have to pay for young players to do what you think they can do. You know, and have them earn the money. And I think Franz coming off that playoff series, he wasn't his best. But I think he has room to grow. I think he's a good player that can be a great player. So, you know, the 270 caught me, but then when you read into it and the incentives come about, it's not crazy. A lot of these extensions are getting, these young players are going to get that type of money. But at first glance, you know, Franz coming off the playoff series, coming off a great regular season he had. Playoff series didn't play to the best he wanted to play. So, you know, it was eye-popping, but they was going to give him the money regardless. Him and Suggs were going to get paid. So I'm definitely excited to see how he progresses.
To me, the Franz Wagner extension makes sense, but he needs to keep getting better. I think on one hand this year, everyone looks at Franz. He played poorly in the playoffs. He shot 28% from 3. I think one of the biggest reasons why he shot so poorly and why it was kind of a disappointing year for him was because last summer he was playing and winning a FIBA World Championship with Germany. So he didn't have a normal offseason. And throughout the season, he looked really fatigued. A lot of his shots were short. His legs were gone. And then in time, he lost confidence because he didn't want to be a hindrance to an offense that had no other shooting. And there was a lot of expectations there. In a vacuum, Franz Wagner is worth the 30% max. You're looking at one of the elite rim pressures and finishers in the NBA. The biggest question to me is how he's going to continue to grow as a jump scorer in the mid-range area. He's only shot 41% there. And for him to become a top 25, top 20 player, someone that you can really rely on late in games to give you elite offense that a $200 million player would give you, he's got to add that third level to his game, which is still a huge project. But I think with the rim pressure, his defense, and playmaking, a 30% max is the same it was a decade ago. The only difference is it's just more money because of TV deals, which has skyrocketed the NBA salary cap.
Franz Wagner only attempted 47 mid-range shots in the regular season, and he shot 34% on those.
That doesn't include, if I'm wrong, maybe I am, shots from 4 to 14 feet. I think NBA.com's mid-range shot making and shot data, I think it's just like 15 to 20 feet.
Yeah, so 5 to 9 feet, Franz shot 38%. 10 to 14 feet, he shot 42.5% around that area. I'm looking at his left corner 3, 24%, right corner 3, 19%, above the break 3, 29%. The shooting has to be better. And I think it's fair to say that right now, the Magic, they paid on his upside Because I do think to start their careers, Cade, Franz, Scotty, Alperen, outside of situation, they're all kind of similar tier of players. They all can be all-star level players. What I'm surprised by is that the Rockets have yet to give Alperen Şengün his extension.
That's the reason why they're doing that.
Yeah, they're waiting to the next offseason. Not because he doesn't deserve it, but it would, if I read correctly, help to give them more cap and to more evaluate the situation of that summer to bring in another guy.
It's the same reason why the 76ers waited to give Tyrese Maxey that 30% max because of his bird rights. I think it's something to do with his cap hold. And that cap number would then open up more flexibility once they give him that extension later on.
That makes sense. Franz Wagner joins Shaquille O'Neal, Dwight Howard, and Tracy McGrady in scoring at least 4,000 points before their 23rd birthday. And you talked about pressure in the rim, John. Last year, he was top 10 and made layups and dunks, and he had 7 30-point games last year. So Franz Wagner is a very good player, but he has to keep improving. I think the Magic this year could be dark horses in the Eastern Conference.
I agree.
I don't want to start this early division between Paolo and Franz. I have heard people think that Franz Wagner is a better player than Paolo.
Ludicrous.
I think that's ludicrous. I think Paolo's the better player between the two, and I think it's quite clear. Franz Wagner as a second option can be very good for you. This Magic team showed that they can hold down a playoff spot. Their next step is Jalen Suggs getting better. Franz becoming a better shooter. They brought in KCP for the defense. They're going to be hell to play against on the offensive side of the basketball because they are going to be an elite level defense again. But they need to have at least a mediocre offense.
Yeah.
Their offense can't be bottom of the barrel.
Right. It was 22nd this year in offensive efficiency. And the defense, it was second last year. We know that's the foundation. But when you don't have like a pure point guard, somebody who's going to run a ton of pick and roll and create from the top of the key, with Jalen Suggs kind of operating more like a Marcus Smart, watch the Celtics, they're expecting everybody else to improve internally. And I think there's only so far that can take you until you add a true star creator who can add that mass offense that they desperately needed in that 7-game series. There's the Cavaliers, and they won 47 games last year without it.
And it's a huge credit to Jamal Mosley and what he was able to do.
Oh, for sure.
With the Magic.
He's a really good coach.
No, I think for sure they're a dark horse team in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be a tough out for any team that faces them. They were a tough out for Cleveland. And Cleveland is a very talented team.
That was a really hard. That was impossible watch the first couple of games.
It was a defensive battle.
That was the old days, man. You love hoops. That was one of them ones.
The Magic are all about defense. The offense got to get better. The Mavericks made the NBA Finals off an elite defensive performance in a run, but they opted to improve their offense even further by acquiring Klay Thompson. There's been a lot of mixed reviews on this. Some people think Klay Thompson is washed and he's not worth acquiring for the Mavericks. He doesn't make them that much better. Fun fact, he was 31st in PER amongst all shooting guards. He's now wearing number 31 in Dallas because of Reggie Miller. It's going to look odd seeing him wear number 31.
Really odd.
But Riv, you've seen him play on Golden State. You are higher on Dallas now. How much better do you think the Mavericks are with Klay, and what version do you expect of Klay on the Mavs?
Well, to understand how Klay impacts the team, you got to understand how he was used in Golden State. And I think, there were times where I shitted on him for sure. There was times when I hated on him. There was times where I was visibly frustrated at the shit he used to do. But I also understood situations that he was our number 2 guy. Yeah. And that's not his role anymore. That's not, he just doesn't have that in him anymore. And it's okay, Father Time catches up to everybody except fucking LeBron, which is aggravating. But for sure, I think Klay, you got to understand, Dallas pretty much was teetering at the deadline, made some moves, brought in 2 guys, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, that brought into their playoff rotation. Their rotation consisted of about 8-9 strong, right? And, they had spot minutes with Tim Hardaway Jr., Dante Exum. Klay's going to take those total minutes. Klay is much better than those guys. Like, Klay is a legitimate guy on the team where he's a third or fourth guy, a guy that can come off a pin down. He can run a little bit of DHOs, not too much. You know, he can hit off the catch extremely well. He can still defend 3 to 4s, sometimes 5s. His switchability is fine. Guards he'll have trouble with, of course. But, you know, Dallas builds a pretty great defensive scheme. He'll be fine. What he provides is what Dallas struggled with pretty much all playoffs, consistent shooting. You know, they had the series against OKC where P.J. Washington was God, and he was shooting a high, insane clip. You know, but for the most part, in totality of the series, they lacked consistent three-point shooting. And I think Klay Thompson brings that. And I think he can, you know, bring that different element of high shot making and, you know, elite three-point shooting. He still shot a 38, 39% clip this year. He's still an elite shooter. And I think, you know, the image of him in Golden State was him as a number 2, and it was hard to watch, of course. You know, that team was just bad. But him going to now Dallas, where Luka is an all-time playmaker. Kyrie's a pretty good playmaker. You know, you have ways where you can set up Klay Thompson to get the ball. He can score, you know, transition shoot, and he'll be there for that. You know, I think Klay, why I'm high on Dallas, because I thought they improved on everything they needed to improve, and they upgraded on the position they needed to upgrade, and Klay was a big part of that.
This contract to me is going to be one of the best in the NBA. 3 years, $50 million for Klay Thompson is just a little bit more than what Doug McDermott's making for 3 years, $42 million. And as you highlighted very well just now, Klay is going to be a huge upgrade off what they've previously had because he's essentially replacing Tim Hardaway Jr., who was a liability for them. He could not play in the playoffs whatsoever. And with Thompson, he is the perfect fit alongside Luka, who, yeah, it's going to be a lot more ISO heavy, but can Klay add more movement shooting with Jason Kidd having the opportunity to really reinforce that into his offense? In the corner, Luka's going to hit him in the shooting pocket again and again and again, and it's going to open up the floor in ways that really haven't had that gravity. Defensively, I worry quite a bit, and that would be my one concern with this move, just because of the fact he cannot guard a point guard. But I think adding guys like Quentin Grimes and Najee Marshall, who could start, Klay's only making about $16 million annually. That is what a 6-man often makes in today's NBA. It doesn't force Dallas to put him in a really tough position on the defensive end. It gives him the flexibility to start him in some series and in some of the good matchups, but in the bad ones for him, he can be a 6-man of the year candidate. And quite frankly, I think it's the best thing for both parties.
I feel like this has been the most overthought move where people are trying to nitpick at everything that's wrong with it when it's a no-brainer. It's clear. It makes the Dallas Mavericks so much better. And in a world where we live in, where everybody, they want to see a new team reach the NBA Finals, the Dallas Mavericks, a team that made the NBA Finals just now, got so much better to the point that they can make the NBA Finals again. I love the offseason OKC has had. Bringing in Caruso, bringing in Hartenstein. But this is the harsh reality of OKC's future. In order for them to take a finals leap, it's not SGA who has to improve. It's Chet Holmgren. It's Jalen Williams. They have to take major steps in a short amount of time in this window where the Mavericks, with Luka Doncic playing at all NBA level, with Kyrie Irving being in his prime, with Klay Thompson still being a very good player, and he still can be a pivotal part of a championship team. They have veteran experience, legitimate veteran experience. And I think when you talk about OKC and Dallas and a potential rematch in the playoffs, if they were to meet again, I think that experience matters. I think that big game experience from Kyrie, from Luka, from Klay Thompson, it matters more because OKC doesn't have that type of experience. We can talk all about, okay, OKC didn't shoot well in the playoffs. Well, who were the players that didn't shoot well? Lou Dort, who teams are going to leave open, and he's going to be a pivotal part of OKC. Who else didn't shoot well? Cason Wallace, a rookie who they were relying on. Chet Holmgren didn't shoot well from 3. These are young guys that have not been battle tested in the playoffs, and I don't think one playoff run where you won one first-round series now makes you battle tested. They have experience, but is it enough experience to make the NBA Finals? That is still a TBD. But the Mavericks have a veteran and experienced team, and adding Klay Thompson, a guy who knows how to win and knows how to get it done, is huge. And people don't even talk about the fact that in that playoff series against OKC, Luka Doncic, outside of Game 5 and Game 6, did not play like Luka. In Games 1 to 4, he was clearly a shell of himself. Kyrie Irving averaged 17 points per game. You can say PJ Washington was great, and he averaged 19, but now you're adding a guy in Klay who can legitimately average 18, and on any given night could rain in 5 threes. And the game plan OKC used against Kyrie, which was to really double him and to get the ball out of his hands. Well, now it's going to be much harder when Klay Thompson's on the court because you got to respect his spacing, because OKC didn't respect Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ spacing whatsoever. So I think just because OKC made these major moves, I don't think it just pushes Dallas over and they're not in the mix. I think as of right now, Dallas is still probably the favorite. And you might say, well, it's not often we see a team go back to the NBA Finals, but it's not often where a team that just made the NBA Finals has a top 3 player in the world and they improved. Like Luka Doncic is in the same stratosphere, in my opinion, in terms of a talent, all-time talent, as somebody like LeBron James. And when LeBron James had a team around him, he was able to make the finals year after year after year. And I think Luka is that special of a player. I understand LeBron is a better defender. I understand LeBron is a better defender, but I don't think it's crazy to say Luka can make back-to-back finals and this time around get it done and get over the hump.
I just feel like you could have left LeBron out of it, but do your thing.
But I'm just saying, this team got so much better. Klay averaged 18, 39% from 3, 39% above the break, 38% catch and shoot, 41% on pull-up shots. And yes, he adds movement shooting to this team. He adds a dimension of off-ball ability to this team. But I think what's even more important for him, and when we talk about the Mavs adjusting their play style to Klay, I think it's more so Klay adjusting his play style to Dallas. Does Klay Thompson, if he is at this age, does he want to move around a ton of screens and get shots off the catch? I feel like he's fine with playing in a corner, playing on a wing, letting Kyrie and Luka go to work, and him getting easy shots. We're talking about Klay saving so much energy on offense because he doesn't have to move around at the level he did at Golden State. And I love what you mentioned about Klay's defense, because Klay defense is not, he can't guard those shiftier guards anymore, but he can guard positions up. So in a series, if they were to rematch the Boston Celtics, he could guard Jaylen Brown. He can guard Jason Tatum. He can, with his size, that is a good matchup for Dallas. And I'm not saying I'm not saying he's locking him up, but I'm saying
I'm laughing at John.
I think Klay Thompson against JB and JT might be a better defender than Derrick Jones Jr. was, because Derrick Jones Jr. let up a lot on the size department because he was skinny and he was frail. And I think Klay, he can guard those positions up. And when we talk about the teams in the Western Conference, I mean, how many teams that they're going to face in a playoff run have shifty guards that Klay has to worry about overwhelmingly? You look at OKC, SGA is shifty. He's not fast, twitchy like a John Moran by any means. He's more so just crafty. And even then, he gave Dallas 31 a night in the playoffs, so he cooked them regardless. The Denver Nuggets, they didn't face them, but I think more so their problem is going to lie in the Jokic matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota has not improved their spacing this offseason, and the way Dallas played them on defense is going to be the same way they would play them again in the series. Then who else? The Suns. They don't got a shifty guy like that who can really just twitchy.
The Suns would be a problem for them matchup-wise because they don't have a Dallas doesn't have a lot of great one-on-one defenders. Yeah. But I think Dallas will still win, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is that when we talk about shiftier guards, I don't think in the playoffs Klay is really going to be asked to guard down all that much. And if you do run into a team like Memphis, I think Memphis's lack of size in the backcourt works to the advantage of Dallas, because now Luka gets to pick apart certain matchups and gets to play against smaller defenders. So if you're putting a player that's shiftier on the court to knock Klay off his defensive game, well, now that could backfire because now Luka on the other side can pick you apart. So I think this move was a great move. Their rotation now is Luka, Kyrie, Klay, PJ, Derek Lively. Off the bench, Najee Marshall, Daniel Gafford. That's going to be their first two. Dante Exum was really good for them. Quentin Grimes, we'll see if he can find his stride again. And Maxi Kleber, I still think he's a very serviceable player. And being able to still keep Maxi Kleber without involving him in any trade, I think is huge, because he had a shoulder injury in these playoffs, and it showed in the finals because he couldn't shoot at all. But he was still a good defender.
I think it's over for him as a rotation player. I'll be honest.
Listen. I wouldn't disagree with you, John. Listen, he was really underwhelming. But wide open 3-point percentage in the finals, I always use this stat. The Mavericks starters were 17.6%. They shot 17.6%, while the Celtics starters shot 42.6%. And yes, we can argue about defensive schemes all day long, but the point of the matter was that the Dallas Mavericks were just missing open 3-point shots. That's really what it was. And Luka wasn't hitting his 3-point shots, and that didn't help. And Kyrie wasn't hitting his either. I do think that even though the Celtics won in 5, and I always stand on this, is the series was much closer, and Dallas got cold at the worst time possible in the season.
Yeah, I think there's two more things to this I want to add. The first thing is I think you're looking at Klay with rose-colored glasses defensively, because you said you wouldn't really be worried about him on defense. In the Mavericks closing lineup, if he's going to be on that floor with Kyrie and Luka Doncic, the question becomes, who's going to guard the opposing team's best player? Who's going to guard their opposing best point guard? Is it going to be Kyrie? Is it going to be PJ Washington? I think that's something that would hold him off the floor in the playoffs. And the second thing is, I said before, Klay can come off the bench. Last year, the Warriors put him off the bench. And Riv, you saw in February, for 14 games, he came off and averaged 20.
Amazing.
He averaged 20 a game, shooting 42% from 3. Do you guys think he starts?
I don't think he needs to. I think he probably, who is it? Luka, Kyrie, Lively, PJ, Klay, 3.
I would start him.
They're not going to have a POA defender regardless. Either of you start Najee anyway. So
You start Grimes.
Unless you start Grimes.
Grimes
After his shooting, I don't know if I'm starting Grimes.
I believe in his shooting, playing alongside Luka.
I believe in the shooting up the bench. And if it gets better, then you can switch it. But it doesn't matter. I think Klay will start.
But this is the thing. It's like Dallas has to lean into something. And if you're going to lean into one thing, if your superstar is Luka Doncic, you got to lean into your offense. That's what's going to win you a championship, with Luka Doncic being your guy. The defense, you have to get timely stops. But really what it is that you really have to surround Luka with offensive players.
I agree with that in the regular season. But in the playoffs, I think you got to find the right balance of those two things.
You do. I mean, Najee Marshall could be in a closing lineup. He could even play in place of PJ Washington, and he can be the primary defender.
He's very similar physically.
Yeah, and he's a better shooter as well. At least off of last season, he was a much better shooter. Even though we'll see if he can continue that and keep that up. But the Dallas Mavericks got much better to me. And listen, I understand those concerns about Klay Thompson's defense, but I didn't see Klay Thompson on defense and think he's completely washed. I didn't see that.
Right, but I look at like the 2022 finals in Game 2, the Celtics had, or I shouldn't say the Celtics, the Warriors had to put him on Al Horford, who cannot dribble with his off hands.
I felt like Klay Thompson in the 2022 NBA Finals was great defensively.
Going out Horford.
It was really one possession.
I believe
there was one possession with the game on the line where he completely strapped Jaylen Brown. I forgot what game that was, but he completely,
a couple good games.
He completely, like, it was a clutch possession, completely strapped Jaylen Brown, like, on some different shit, yo. But obviously that's a couple years removed.
Facts. I think the perspective on all this, though, is what you mentioned at first, John, is the fact that they're not paying Klay Thompson much. Mm-hmm. And because of that, they can make, it allows for more wiggle room. But also the expectations should drop. We shouldn't look at Klay as being a defensive stopper and a sharpshooter. I think if he just gives you the sharpshooting, that's fine. And average defense, I think that's fine. For the price point that you're paying for, that's fine. But I love the move, and I feel like it makes them tremendously better. Much, much better. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly summarize what you guys said, I definitely agree with that sentiment. I definitely believe Klay Thompson can still be a serviceable defender, obviously not against shifty guards, but like just the defensive tactic that Boston trotted out there, leaving PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. away, like taking away the corner threes. It doesn't matter where Klay Thompson is on the court. He could be up on the top of the key, on the wing, any corner. He's a 39% three-point shooter. He did it on close to 10 attempts. That's a down year for Klay. He's a monster. And then another thing that people like are kind of forgetting, which is when I say this, you guys are gonna be like, oh shit, Luka Doncic wasn't 100% in the finals. It was obviously pretty really clear. Like the dude wasn't 100%. Obviously, it hampered him or whatever the case may be. But this Dallas team got better. If we can get a healthy Luka Doncic that's 100%, and you replace Derrick Jones, whoever you want to say, Tim Hardaway, I don't give a shit. Whoever you want to say, you replace one of those guys with Klay Thompson, who's a sniper.
Yeah.
The same defensive tactics cannot be performed against Dallas. And Luka Doncic, I believe if he was healthy, if they match up again, if he's healthy, he get downhill more. Kyrie improved as a playmaker. He's a really underrated playmaker. Luka Doncic is a great playmaker. Klay Thompson can really be the difference maker. It doesn't matter if you take him from the corner, from the wing. It doesn't matter. He's one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time. And I think that they have a high possibility to get back to the finals. One more thing, like Riv said, obviously we're envisioning Klay Thompson as a second scorer when he was with Golden State. Obviously he's not there anymore, but you pair him with two of the best ISO scorers and one elite level playmaker, another good playmaker. It's going to make his job much easier. It doesn't matter where you put him. I like it.
You know, Klay Thompson, he met with the Mavericks with Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd and company, and he had a meeting with the Lakers, and that morning he canceled it and he said, "Nah, like I'm gonna be in Dallas. I want to play in Dallas."
He went to LA, it would have been an active betrayal.
And this is why when we were doing our predictions on where we think Klay is gonna go, John, one of the names you mentioned was the Detroit Pistons. But I don't envision. I never.
What?
I wanted him on the Magic.
I never. I
they'd
would
pay
like
him
that
the
too.
most money.
I never envisioned Klay Thompson as a loser, and he wasn't about to go to a losing situation.
Hell.
He
Even
went,
for the bag?
No.
Even for the bag,
Klay
it didn't
ain't
matter.
doing that.
For the bag?
Klay
Klay
Thompson
got
is
four
a winner
rings. Who
through and through.
cares?
Nah,
Klay Thompson is chasing that fifth
he
ring,
is, he is.
and he want to get it in Dallas. That's what he want to get it. He
Yeah,
want to
wearing
get that
number
fifth
31
championship.
is crazy.
He'll have more than Steph if he do that. He got that fifth chip.
Yeah, for sure. Shit don't matter though.
Rob Rory's got more on LeBron. We don't care.
Yeah, shit didn't
The
really
other
matter
part-
in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, he's a winner. He don't want to.
I'll be honest with you guys. Klay Thompson is
I'm doing it for the bread.
Klay
respectfully.
Thompson is actually one of the players that I'm least concerned about when it comes to the Mavericks. The player I'm most concerned about
Quinn Grimes.
is Kyrie Irving.
Oh, that guy.
That's who I'm most concerned about. Because in the NBA Finals again, if he does play, if they match up with Boston again,
They gotta get to the finals.
that's
first
who I'm.
plus.
Facts, I know. And on the road to the finals, if you face OKC, they just got Caruso, who's gonna be matched up with Kyrie, and Dort's gonna be on Luka. Kyrie is my biggest concern.
That makes sense.
Because how he performed in the finals, specifically in
Were you
Boston,
confused? Were you
was
shocked?
unacceptable. That was unacceptable.
It was mostly on the road, though, because I feel like at home
Right.
he was pretty freaking good.
I think
at
we
home.
saw, though, Kyrie at this age doesn't create the same separation off the dribble to get the same looks. And I think that's a fair point you have. Riv, you're talking about Q-Dot. I'm actually not worried about him at all. That's a guy who is a 37% career three-point shooter who takes double the attempts that Josh Green did, playing in places like New York alongside Kemba Walker and other point guards before Jalen Brunson. You now pair him alongside Luka, who's going to put the ball right into a shooting pocket multiple times a game. You could see him shoot even better. And quite frankly, he was a very good perimeter defender. So I think they upgraded massively at every single wing spot.
Hey, listen, there was a time where we did top 5 young cores, and the Knicks made that young core, and it was because of Quinn Grimes.
Him and RJ.
part of that.
That
Quinn
wing
Grimes
duo,
was
the
part
wing
of it.
duo of the future.
No, I mean,
Quinn Grimes used to have it,
Yeah.
bro. Like he was.
Nah, he used to have the chopper. No
mean,
funny. He used to have
Did
the
he
chopper.
really lose it? He was hurt this year and played 6 games.
His shit
for
was
the
broke,
Pistons.
though. His shit was crazy.
He wasn't he out the rotation in New York though.
He was.
He was also hurt as well. He wasn't healthy.
He
Never
was hurt
returns.
too. Yeah, he just had a down year all around.
He'll be alright though. I think he'll bounce back. I'm not really too
Yeah.
worried about him. It's really the Kyrie guy. But Kyrie, like, are you shocked at this? Him doing this? He at this point, this is what he is. He's gonna show up for some playoff series. He's not gonna show up for some playoff series.
I'm shocked.
Why?
I'm shocked.
He's been this since
He's not the
after he
same.
left LeBron.
Do you think he's the same player as he was in 2017?
I don't think he's
Hell
the
no.
same. No.
So I think it's fair to
he hasn't been? It's obvious who he is. He's gonna show up for some moments. Some moments he's not. You have to be okay with that.
But I need him to show up for
What you
80%
need is
of the
incapable.
moments.
He's incapable of doing that.
Because I
What?
thought in
Showing
the
up for a full
in the
series.
conference finals
You
he
think
showed
so?
up for the
Multiple
full
times.
series.
Yes. For sure.
In the conference finals, he had 30 multiple times.
Against Minnesota?
Against Minnesota.
Yeah, and then he went out there in the finals and stunk the shit up.
I know.
No, it was mostly on the road. He stunk it up though, but it was majority of it.
At
was
home,
on
he
the
was
road.
Played 3
great.
games on the road.
I know
The
majority
series
of it.
was 5.
Honestly, bro, I feel like the defensive tactics, but I feel like as just a viewer, I feel like the crowd got into his head. Like you're in the final, you're in the biggest stage, you arguing with motherfuckers in the crowd and shit. Like you're not locked in, bro. When he was in Dallas, he was playing free flowing. He had like a 35-point game. Could have went for 50 if he got more shots. I mean,
That was the game they blew him out?
yeah.
Or you
No.
talking about-
That was game 3, bro. Where
Oh, the
people
close
were
one. Yeah,
people
yeah.
people were saying that Luka Doncic kind of like
Lost in the game.
They said lost in the game, but definitely didn't, like, for lack of a better terms, I can't come up, ride Kyrie more offensively. But I saw him in Dallas. When he was playing in Dallas, he was shooting 51% in 2 games and 42%
game
from
3 he had 35.
He could have had, I'm not even lying, he could have had way more.
He played 45 minutes.
Could have had way more.
Brother, he played the game.
He 45 minutes.
Let's look at Kyrie's career playoff. Like, the USA team is scrimmage right now. They're playing the young guys. Let's look at it. So, against Dallas. That was
in the first round, he was great against the Clippers.
Did you see have you looked at the OKC series?
OKC was terrible.
17 points, right?
But also the way
two 9-point games.
Also the way they guarded him,
brother.
He had to pass the ball.
They guard everybody. Listen, the way you guard, I understand that, but this is what I'm telling you. He showed up for 2 series out of 4. Minnesota, everybody showed up.
I know. Quentin Grimes last year shot 36% from 3 in New York.
Yeah.
With the Pistons, he shot 14%. I think Quentin Grimes will be fine.
Hey, the sample size is
He
disproportionate.
shot 14.
There's only 6 games. There's only 6 games. Yeah, but 14
Damn,
14
is nuts, bro.
That's like 1 of 7, right?
Every game.
That's terrible.
Kyrie against Brooklyn, he had 1 30-point game and then 10, 16, 20.
Wait, what are you talking about? Against Brooklyn?
Kyrie's life before Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Kyrie
Yeah, and
against
that Boston
Milwaukee.
series.
He had a good series, but then he got hurt. 25, 22, 22, 11. He's mainly a scorer, so I'm not really. Boston, he destroyed them. Kyrie against Milwaukee, 26, 9, 29, 23, 15. Ooh, the efficiency is disgusting.
It is kind of crazy, though. In the conference finals,
Since LeBron, man, this guy's
But now he's playing with Luka.
He was in his mid-20s back then. In the conference finals, I asked who would you rather have, Brown or Kyrie, and I think everyone, including maybe even Dehls, took Kyrie over Jaylen Brown.
At the moment, it sounded right.
I don't think Dehls did. I think
maybe he was torn and then took Jaylen.
I think Drew might have taken Jaylen Brown too.
I think you can argue Kyrie over Brown.
Maybe Drew wasn't there, but I remember that, and then I'm thinking about it now. I'm like,
No,
no one's
taking
Kyrie over Jaylen Brown today.
Yeah, no, I'm taking Jaylen Brown, but I think before the finals, there's definitely an argument. It's just different roles.
Damn.
That's what it really comes down to.
Same expectations.
No, because
styles,
it depends.
On the defensive end, yeah, but offensively, I feel like they have the same role.
Yeah,
There's,
honestly.
I mean, all the defensive attention is usually on Luka, so they need Kyrie to win those one-on-one matchups.
He gets doubled.
Same thing with Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown sees majority of just
Kyrie
at this
gets
point.
doubled
Jaylen
more.
Brown's a
Kyrie
better.
gets
As crazy as
doubled more than
sounds,
Jaylen Brown, for
as
sure.
crazy as it sounds, Jaylen Brown might be a better one-on-one ISO scorer than Kyrie at this point.
It's just hard because the
I don't hate
one-on-one
it. I don't hate it.
the one-on-one situations that Jaylen Brown is getting
Could.
comes
It's not
with
the
a
same.
lot more space
Yeah,
to operate.
that
in.
too, because they were obviously shrinking the floor of the non-shooters.
I feel like just with having Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington out there, you're able to shrink the floor to the point that it just makes every shot
Difficult,
tough and difficult. It really does.
Yeah.
And even in game 1, Kyrie Irving, I thought got a lot of great looks against Boston. He was just missing, man.
Definitely, he was missing a bunch of those pull-ups. Al Horford was in drop coverage. We were at my house watching, bro. We seen Kyrie miss about 2-3 pull-ups that he usually makes off drop coverage, bro. He just wasn't having it. Just didn't have it.
Klay Thompson changed his number from 11 to 31, now playing with the Mavericks. I want you guys to guess these other Hall of Fame players that changed their numbers, and I want you to tell me what number they changed it to and what team it was on.
How many names do you have?
It's a lot of names.
Well, Michael Jordan went to 45.
Okay, but I'm just going to tell you these names and then you guess.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so first name, Kevin Durant.
7.
35.
35
35.
7.
Yeah, I'm saying yeah.
My
I'm
fault.
saying that.
I didn't
No,
think,
you're good.
I didn't think we need to say 35.
We're here.
My
We're
fault.
here.
All right.
That's
We're
true.
here. Okay.
Kevin Durant went from 35 to 7. He wore number 7 in Brooklyn. This is obvious. Kobe Bryant.
8, 24.
824.
Same team, though. LeBron James.
6,
23.
23. Yep.
Dwayne Wade.
3, 9.
Good shit, boy. Because
I wasn't sure what it were at the Bulls.
I
No, it's
knew
nine.
3.
That was a great
I don't
pull.
know 9.
Oh, no, even with the Cavaliers, he wore 9, I think.
He wore number 9. No, he wore number 3 with the Bulls, number 9 with the Cavs.
Yeah, that's what it was.
What
Yeah.
number was he? 3?
Yeah, of course.
He was.
Legendary.
James Harden.
1.
Was he
13 to 1.
13
13 to 1.
I'm not good with
It
numbers.
is 13 to 1.
knew it.
One
Yeah.
was with the Clippers and the
Bro
Sixers.
might cook it his whole self. I don't know.
I'm good with numbers.
Yes.
low-key.
Number 1 was with the Clippers and the Sixers.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving.
He went from 2 to
To
1.
11?
11 on the Celtics.
11 on the Nets, too, I believe. He was number 11 on the Nets, too.
Yeah. He was 2 on the
2
Cavs.
and 11.
And what is he on the Mavericks?
He's 1 now.
Yes.
He's not
2.
1.
He's 2.
He's not 2.
Whoa, hold on. Oh, wow. Is Kyrie...
No clue. 14?
No, he's
I
not
don't,
14.
I don't think it's a single digit.
It's a single digit or no?
It's a double-digit number.
18.
No,
24?
no. He's in the 20s.
Yo,
Brother.
bro, this is really tough, bro. What's
ain't
Kyrie's
Champ Bailey, dog.
number?
11.
It is 11.
Oh, shit,
Oh,
we're
He
here.
wore the same number in Boston,
Oh,
Brooklyn,
damn,
and
I thought
Dallas.
we already said 11 and took it off
Yeah,
the list.
we
Oh, my
did,
fault.
but we didn't say it.
All right.
We're here.
Blake Griffin.
Okay.
Going from the Clippers to the
32,
Pistons.
32, 32,
32 was his Clippers number. Yes.
23.
23 was his
I
Pistons
knew it,
number.
bro.
Yeah, same number as Braun. now I
This
think about
is
it.
a tough
You mean
pull.
MJ?
Yeah.
This is a tough pull. Steve Nash, 13 on Phoenix. What did he wear with the Lakers?
7.
No,
1,
no,
3.
no,
5.
no.
Is it a single digit?
It's a double-digit number.
Oh, 14.
No,
Okay. 12.
I got you right now, Joe. 30.
no. 30 is crazy.
30 is nuts.
Oh my god, I thought it was 30, bro.
17.
It's like Lakers, Julius Randle.
16?
No.
Good God, oh my. We're going to go through the entire teams.
Possible. 13. I said that already. 19.
No.
Okay, but
Did
I've
he-
said all the team numbers.
Did he previously, either of
Missing
these
something.
two, guess 11?
God, bro, what is it?
He
18.
was not 11. He was not 18.
I said them all, I feel like, man.
What,
16.
what number in the teams have we not said yet?
14?
It's not 14.
15.
Not 15.
Dog,
I
I
don't,
said
guys, I
every
don't think it's
number.
in the teens.
But I don't want to give up right now.
22.
Not 22.
Trying to think.
10 was not said.
It is number 10.
Fuck, that was
That's not
my
a team
next
number.
guess, bro.
That's not a team number.
It's not a single-digit number either.
No, it's really not.
That's
It's
a
a
good
double
point.
digit number. It's really not a team though either.
Yeah, it's
Though.
not a team number.
And he wore number 10 on the Lakers. I think that's because of soccer. Some connection.
Robert
Yes.
Sacre?
Now
He's
I
a soccer.
see it.
No, he's a soccer dude.
Oh.
He's a huge
Like, he
soccer.
played
you said
soccer.
'cause
Yeah,
Robert
he's
Sacre,
actually
I was
nice.
He's also a tennis player. My brother's best friend.
I think he owns stock in a soccer team. I don't know which one though.
Next name up, Carmelo Anthony. Going from Denver to New York, what numbers did he
15
wear?
with the Nuggets.
15, 7.
7 with the Knicks.
Knicks, yeah.
Yep.
But what
that's
did he
perfect.
wear? Did he wear anything else? He stayed with 7 on the Rockets and the Thunder.
On the Trailblazers?
Thunder, yes, 7.
He might have wore something different.
On the
with
Trailblazers?
Yeah,
On the
Blazers.
Trailblazers? I
was-
think it
don't
might have been
think-
7.
Oh, no, I think Carmelo on the Blazers, he wore 00 actually.
Oh, he did wear 00.
Yeah, he wore
He
00.
did wear 00.
Next name up, Kevin Garnett. Played in 3 places,
know this.
Minnesota, Boston, and Brooklyn. What numbers were
0.
they? Never 0.
No, my fault. 5. Definitely wore number 5.
5 with Boston.
21 with the T-Wolves.
21 with the Timberwolves.
The Nets, I believe, 11.
Nope.
7.
Nope.
9.
8. I don't remember KG.
What
on the Nets
was
like
he
that,
in
though.
Brooklyn? Y'all said 7, and you said 9.
Wow, bro.
Did y'all
He
say
barely
0?
fucking played.
You guys say 0?
I don't remember the big tickets number, bro. I'm drawing a fucking blank.
What 0 said?
0 was not said, but that's not the answer.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it might be like a really
6?
bizarre number.
It was not 6.
I don't
You're
think
close.
It's, oh, so it
4.
is single digit.
It's not 4.
3?
It's not 3.
5.
It's not 5.
Brother. Actually, technically, that could have been the answer.
2.
It was number 2.
We're here.
Wow.
He wore number 2 on the Nets.
Don't
No,
remember
it
that
could not
at
have been the
all.
Don't
We
remember
got-
him at all there.
We got 2
Me
more
neither.
names left. Ray Allen. Can you name me the numbers he wore with
20,
the Bucks,
30?
Sonics, Celtics, and the Heat?
Start off
20.
at 34.
34, 20 with Boston.
20 with the Celtics, 34 with the
Jesus,
Bucks,
Souls
16?
16 no.
No.
On the Heat, he went back to 34.
Yep.
Yep.
So what did he wear with the Sonics?
5?
Seattle.
5?
And those jerseys are crisp.
No,
30.
I'll give you guys 3 guesses each.
Okay.
Okay.
11.
Start with these.
Not
guys.
11.
All right.
That's the
5.
pontificate.
Wait, somebody said 5.
in my
Right?
mind.
Was it a
I
single?
would say don't think about it too much.
I'm really not good with numbers. Was it single or double?
It was a double-digit number.
Okay, cool.
20?
Not 20.
Not 20.
He just wore that in Boston.
You said don't think about it too much. I'm going to go with 21.
It's not 21.
23.
Not 23.
26.
Not 26.
24?
I can't.
Not
I
24.
got one more guess.
You got, yeah,
I got
one more.
2 more.
I got one more.
I feel like it's number in the teens.
No, it's not.
Okay.
29.
Not 29.
It was definitely a double digit number.
Kind of like a trick question, honestly, with this one. Because you named me the numbers he wore with the Bucks, the Heat, and the
34.
Celtics.
21 and back to 34.
We just got like 12 Patreon members signed up.
I got one more.
I know, right?
That's my last guess. 28.
Not 28.
All right, I'm out.
John, here's your last guess.
Think, John. You're the brains of the operation.
I guess so. Man, I just can't see. I could see him wearing a 34 in Milwaukee. I can't see it with the Sonics. You know it?
I'm out, man.
I thought you were. Nah, I thought you were reacting to realizing.
If you get it wrong, you're gonna be pissed. That's all I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say.
because you saw it and you're like,
Yeah,
damn.
if you get it wrong, you're gonna be like, whoa, I just said. But we'll see.
3.
It's a
No.
double-digit number, dude.
It's you have one more guess? Is
Nah, that was his last
that's
one.
it. It was 34 with
You
the
said
Sonics.
it, bro. I can't picture him wearing 34 on the Supersonics.
I
That's
said-
why I was like, oh,
Wait, hold up. Hold up. I said 34 for the Bucks and the Sonics. Those were consecutive teams.
I thought you just said the Bucks. And
man,
you said 30. I remember. I heard you clearly.
Yeah.
Now you definitely said Bucks.
You said 34 for the Bucks and the Heat.
And I said 20 for the. Yes, you did
But
say
you
for the
never
Heat.
said
He did
Sonics.
say for the Heat.
But it was
he did say for the Heat.
It
yeah.
was consecutive teams, which is why I
20
thought
was
that.
weird.
I can understand why you were a bit confused.
20 was
now
weird.
the last name here, Tracy McGrady. He wore number 1 on every team except the New York Knicks. What number did he
I thought you were
wear?
gonna say the Spurs. Oh man, how did you guys play the Knicks? Under 20?
He didn't play.
I think
doubt
you played
he
a
played.
few. That might have been after the microfracture.
He even wore number 1 on the Spurs. By
Yeah.
the way,
So he just New York must have had somebody for number 1.
7?
not 7.
I feel it's a single-digit number.
Is it?
Warm.
Okay,
High
11.
single-
But if
digit?
it's a single digit number, then I'm only giving y'all one guess.
So is it a single digit number?
It is. It is.
Okay, so one guess. Okay. 6.
Not 6. John, it's on you.
What are you
like-
thinking?
felt
Did
like
you
a
guess already?
I didn't answer yet.
I'm feeling. I'm not gonna guess this, but I'm feeling like a 0 or a strong 7.
What's your guess?
I'm gonna go 8.
It wasn't 8.
Okay.
0.
It wasn't 0. It was number 3. He wore number 3 on
I
the
said that
Knicks.
for Ray. Didn't say it for Team F.
Fuck,
That's tough.
man.
On to the last topic of the show. It's about the 76ers. We talked about moves being made, and they made arguably the biggest move of the offseason.
Ant-Man called himself the number 1 option on the USA team.
He's number 1 option everywhere.
I'm reading it right now.
I want to ask you guys, what's your confidence level, 1 to 10, on the new look 76ers, on the Sixers big 3? JC, what do you think? What's your confidence level with this team?
My confidence level with this team, you know what? Everybody just chooses 7 to be safe. I feel like that's like the normalized answer. I'm gonna go 8, and the reason I'm gonna go 8 is because
So you're very confident in them.
yes, because I'm thinking about this strictly, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm thinking about this strictly if all of them, well, not all of them, if the 2 main components are healthy come playoff time. That's what I'm thinking of. We've never really gotten that from Joel Embiid, even though he was really good last year against the Knicks while he was hurt. Paul George is another one who gets hurt or, is iffy around playoff time. But just from a team and a basketball perspective, I think they feel a much-needed void. Paul George is still an elite player. Tyrese Maxey's gotten much better. Joel Embiid is arguably the best scorer in the NBA. I mean, he was going to win the scoring title again if he didn't get hurt consecutive seasons. I like the role player. I like them bringing back Kelly Oubre. I liked all that stuff that they did. I like the head coach that they have, Nick Nurse, puts them in great positions to succeed. I just think a lot of this comes down to, for lack of better term, just health, man. If Joel Embiid can give me just one healthy postseason, I don't think that there's any team in the Eastern Conference that has an answer for a healthy Joel Embiid, because no team in the NBA has an answer. I honestly feel like he would, if Joel Embiid was healthy, I feel like he would destroy Boston. That's just how I think. If we're talking about a healthy Joel Embiid, that's arguably the best scorer in the NBA, if he's healthy, who poses mismatches all over the court, bro, I think he's arguably the most unstoppable player in the league. There's not anything that he can't do offensively, but he has to be healthy. Same thing with Paul George. If I'm getting a good high-level Paul George, if I could get the Paul George that was present some of the games against the Clippers, I know I have a feeling Tyrese Maxey's he had one
Against Dallas. Against Dallas.
Yeah,
against Dallas. Pardon me, against Dallas, where he went like nuclear one game.
Game 4.
Yeah, where he hit that like crazy like corner shot on Derrick Jones with like a crazy contest. He just had it that game.
Literally his only good game.
Tyrese Maxey, like I just think highly of this team. I'm gonna say an 8 just because I'm looking at the current constructed roster, and I think it's a very good roster, and I think Paul George can maybe be that missing piece to maybe take them over the top, or at least make a finals appearance, even though Boston's the favorite.
Do you think they got the starting lineup now? Because they just signed Caleb Martin from the Heat.
That's a good
Good
pickup.
depth.
So do you think Maxey, Oubre, Caleb, PG, and Embiid are their starters?
I think you would have to probably bring one of them off the bench.
Because right now the players they have are Drummond, Eric Gordon, Jared McCain, Ricky Council.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Their
Off
bench
the
is
bench.
not good at all.
I like the Drummond backing up Embiid.
It's good.
I
That's
like
your
that.
backup center.
I like that. He's
Perimeter
been there
spots,
before.
Your best backup guard is Jared McCann right now. But I look at this Philadelphia team, and my confidence level in them right now is a 7 out of 10. I think they're a contender, but I think it's a second-tier contender in this Eastern Conference.
Like
and the same
everybody
exact group as the Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Magic,
The Knicks?
and the Pacers. The Knicks I have in that first tier, but the Celtics are clear, like, spot above. I give them that acknowledgement because
they-
they had that type of
for
run
sure.
and that type of season. So here's the thing for Philly. I love the big three. I think in the regular season, they're going to be set up to win a lot more games this year if Embiid does play and finish the year. My concern comes basically with everybody, though. First off, for Embiid, he refined a lot of rough edges in his game last year, but the biggest thing is he's turning 30 years old, and he's never had a healthy playoff run one
That's the
time.
only problem.
I look at Tyrese Maxey. He's the one guy I really don't have any questions for. He was spectacular this postseason. But to me, I look at the Paul George signing. I'm like, his game is great. I think he's perfect. The skill in is the number 3 option. But he has disappeared so many times in the postseason. Yes. And that's against teams like the Mavericks he's disappearing against. What's going to happen when OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are guarding him? Caleb Martin, amazing in Miami. Will he be
He's
the same?
played Mikal Bridges already.
What's up?
He's played Mikal Bridges already.
Well, I mean, this
He
year,
did him
not
filthy that
2021.
one year.
That was 3 years ago.
He was
Playing against
cooking.
Mikal.
He's the same guy, bro.
He's regressing a little bit.
Dogged him. I got to continue. I'm just
He was filthy against him back in 2021. But then I look at Caleb Martin. I don't think he's going to be the same player to leave Miami. And we see the type of shots the Heat gave him a lot of freedom. I don't think he's going to have that same leash going from Spoelstra to Nick Nurse's system. And last guy, I would just say Kelly Oubre is a really good defensive player. Was very good for them in the playoffs. Great start to the year. I don't know if him and Caleb Martin will bring that shot making at a consistent enough level. So I'd say for the 76ers, a 7 out of 10 is as high as I can really go for their confidence. I think they're still a second round exit.
You guys are more confident on them than I am. I'm at a 5 out of 10. That's my confidence level. I don't know if you feel the same, Riff.
I'm at a 6.
You're at a 6, so we're similar.
I am shocked I'm the highest out of the 4 people.
I just
I'm the
think-
highest.
Oh,
I
he's
said
the highest.
8, bro.
I really don't
Yeah,
trust
I said
that
8.
that
Okay.
8-9
I thought you
man
said
rotation. I'm not excited about. Like their big 3 is fine. Let me start by saying that the big 3 is fine. I think they all mesh together well. I think PG, Maxey, MB complement the games well. I think Maxey is going to take another leap this year. I think PG is a fine number 3. I think Embiid, like you mentioned, if he's healthy, he's great. Even when he's not healthy, he's still
amazing
great.
still.
I think after that it gets real muddy and milky, and I don't like it. Not to mention, we talk about PG not showing up. Doc Rivers is their head coach, another coach who tends to fumble when it's time to.
Nick Nurse.
Oh,
Nick
I'm
Nurse.
fucking
Yeah,
blanking.
Nick Nurse.
I'm so sorry. Nick Nurse is their head coach, and he's never had this type of talent around where they not all need the ball, but they do need the ball. You know, PG needs the ball. Maxey kind of needs the ball.
PG's better as a catch and shooter.
He can do it. I don't know if he's, but he can do it at an elite
I
rate.
saw his pull-up stats were pretty bad.
Catch and shoot elite
Yeah,
rate.
40%.
Pull-ups, he takes horrible shots. His shot diet sucks, so it wouldn't be good. But for me, and I think Joel's probably feeling the same way, it's their depth, man. Their depth is just not something to smile about. I mean, Eric Gordon, he's up there in age. Jared McCain is a rookie you have to rely on. Drummond is cool. I'm not even mad at
that.
Drummond, but I think Drummond is cool if he's like the third, fourth best guy off the bench. He's probably your best guy or most consistent guy off the bench. It's not ideal. You know, Ricky Council had some good moments last year, but still, he's really young. It's just not a bench you want to rely on. And in the playoffs, what I think hurt them the most is them Embiidless minutes. It was really bad. Now, PG is supposed to negate that when he's also in the game. But at the same time, I just don't like this outside of their big 3, their 4 or 5 man lineup going up against the Knicks, going up against Boston. You know, even going up against Milwaukee. It's really just a big 3 versus a big 3. You know, and that's still going to be a tough challenge. So for me, I got him at a 6 because, excuse me, I don't know if they can improve this roster anymore, Caleb Martin is a cool addition, but they're still relatively a little small on the wing side. You know, all these wings are skinny. They can defend, but they're all skinny, not the biggest. You know, and outside of that, their guard play is a little bit suspect at the moment because they don't have enough playmaking. So for me, I'm definitely at a 6. Like, it's good. This team is really good. I just have to see a little bit more.
If off their bench the 3 players were Drummond, Caleb, and Oubre, I would like it.
Definitely
but the fact that Oubre and Caleb are starting,
even if Buddy Hield came back,
yeah,
I'd be cool with it.
Oubre, a 31% 3-point shooter last year. Caleb Martin was at 35%. I just don't think that's good enough. I think the Caleb Martin signing had more to do with the Sixers trying to fuck with the Celtics in a way. Like, oh, listen, we're bringing in the guy that played really well against you in the conference finals. Oh, this could be the X factor right here. Yeah. And I just don't buy it. Like, I think Caleb Martin might fall in line more with role players that have left the Heat and that have gotten worse.
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent, due to injury, but still, I don't think he's going to be the same level of player he's going to be in LA that he was with the Miami Heat. And then Max Strus, I thought he was fine for Cleveland, but you left away the season with 1 and more from him. He was average.
I wouldn't say Strus is the best example. To me, it's Josh Richardson, Tyler Johnson, Hassan Whiteside in a way, and then this sucks because he had so many injuries, but Justice Winslow. Those are the guys who left Miami and fell off a total cliff.
Like, Caleb Martin averages 10 points.
And that's the thing with the Heat.
Playing 27 minutes a night.
With the Heat, he was in the perfect role where he had a little bit of opportunity to create shots. I just don't think in Philly they're going to utilize him in the same exact way Eric Spoelstra is able to maximize him.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Martin and Oubre, if they're in the starting lineup, then they are relegated to being spot-up players. Like, they're not going to have the ball, and I think Oubre's at his best when he's slashing and attacking the basket, and he's not going to have the freedom to do that in this type of lineup. Unless they start Eric Gordon, which that would make much more sense, but I don't like Eric Gordon starting in the backcourt with Maxey. I just think they don't have enough good players. That's really my biggest gripe with Philadelphia. I think they're very talented. Maybe if they make a trade or two, and they get some other guys that are actually solidified starters, I might feel differently about it. But with the injuries and the depth, I'm just at a coin toss with them, like, basically on how to feel about them.
You and I are mad high on the Suns going to last year. Do they remind you of that Phoenix team? They just got swept in the first round. With
They're top heavy.
Big 3.
They're top heavy. Yeah, it reminds me of them only in the fact that they have clearly put themselves in a predicament to where it's going to be hard to build a team around these 3 guys because they're getting paid so much. But it doesn't remind me of them because I think these 3 players fit much better than the Suns' big 3. That's the biggest difference for me. Anything else to add on, fellas?
Crying at the dead silence.
I know.
I mean, I still think Philly's in the second tier, though. I still think they're.
What do you think they finish in the East?
3rd.
What seed?
3rd.
Who's second? Knicks?
I guess I think Knicks finished 4th.
I mean, last year until Embiid got hurt, they were in the running with Boston for that top
MVP.
Seed.
Embiid MVP.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll figure that out probably in 2 months. Got to see how it looks. Maybe
I'm gonna start an early campaign. I got Embiid for MVP next year.
Again,
I think I'll pick a wild pick this year.
I think I'll pick a Luka Doncic.
That's a good one.
Not bad.
An easy one. The guy who's been favorited all the time.
It
hasn't won it yet.
Yeah, can you be different?
Do you guys
I want to
think
be right.
He hasn't won it
You
yet.
haven't been right yet.
Do you
My
guys?
MVP wasn't Luka this past coming into
Liar.
the season.
No, it was.
Who was it?
Was it?
What? It might have been Luka. I think you
It might have
definitely
been.
pitched for Luka this year.
What's up?
I really don't know.
Definitely
I might have been Jokic or Giannis. I don't know.
Oh, he's top 5.
Jokic is too easy. I'm gonna pick a wild pick this year.
I know the year
could be
Embiid
the
won.
best.
I picked Embiid though.
Yeah,
If he goes and wins a chip, he's the best.
Do you guys think that Philly's better than even Miami? Another team.
Oh, no,
that
yeah, they're
knocked
better
out
than
first
them.
round.
sucks.
Bro, Miami's
I
not
don't
a
think
regular
Miami's
season
good.
team, bro. They're gonna finish higher than them in the
well,
standings.
let me rephrase
Jimmy
that.
Butler was hurt.
I
in the
think
first
Miami's
round.
good. I don't think they're a contender, and I don't think
They have not
they're
done anything.
legitimate.
They still haven't done it. They're too late to the party to do
Their
anything.
biggest move was
Pat
drafting
Riley.
Chloe Ware, who I think really
Pat-
does.
Played
fill
well
in the
yesterday.
guard.
Pat Riley
today.
waited too
One-
late to
I
add
got a
something to
report.
the
Played
roster,
yesterday.
bro.
Yeah.
So how you feeling, John? Or if you guys tired from your 1v1?
I'm tired from shoulders and triceps the other day. That's what I'm tired from. I think playing one-on-one was dope. Definitely a little tired when I got home, but
Right.
rejuvenated, ready to get back to it. So.
Yeah, I feel fine. My left
Your
foot
chest
was
hurt?
pretty sore. No, my chest don't hurt.
Oh, okay.
But I'm hitting chest later after we hoop.
should.
After we hoop again.
Nah,
I'll be
you
hitting
definitely
chest.
should hit chest for sure. Definitely hit that chest.
I haven't.
Oh man,
Hit some shoulders. You need to get bigger. So I feel great.
that's going to do it for episode 392. I want to thank John and JC for being on the show. It was good having you guys on the show. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on TikTok and Instagram at Pick Aside Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.